Doghouse Racing League is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen, open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared, legendary breakfast bars. And don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Are you looking for sports merchandise for your favorite teams, apparel, jerseys, headwear, hard goods, and looking to be involved with NASCAR? Fanatics is your one-stop shop. Fanatics is partnered up with all major professional sports leagues, as well as hundreds of collegiates and pro teams. Join them now at Fanatics. And if you use the link down below in the description, you'll be able to help out the Doghouse Racing League. While using that link, all commissions go to the Doghouse Racing League, which helps fund prizes and goods for the drivers out on track. Thank you so much for Fanatics, and enjoy the show! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Thursday night. Tonight, it is the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series, Season 1 for 2024, getting ready for their Round 10 as the drivers are ready for Richmond Raceway. This track is going to be a tough one. It's short, just 3/4 of a mile in length. But the Group 6 180 is about to get underway. Going to be covered here again on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you again for joining with us. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth is going to be Zach Hall. Zach, coming off of last week's race, finally got to see Michael Hayes get his first win of the season. But honestly, tonight, going to be a completely different beast for a lot of these drivers.
That it will be. Richmond is going to be a wild one for sure. Very low grip racetrack. And we've seen in Bristol, it was a little bit topsy-turvy there with some people having some major issues, and we could see that maybe linger over into tonight here at Richmond. So it's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited to see who can go out there and get it done.
Tonight's race again marking round 10. It's the 9th official race that these drivers are dealing with, 180 laps in total. And tonight can be a very crucial evening as we're going to be into this official second half of this season, and there's just coming up after tonight a handful of races left in the season, and it's crunch time as practice is coming to an end. And Zach, I mean, with the races kind of fading away, we got a report that Michael Hayes may not even be doing a full run here tonight. Sounds like he's going to be doing a start and park for tonight's race. That kind of puts this race completely in the hands of Kevin Thompson. If he has a good run here tonight, he could make this championship out of reach for some of the other competitors.
He really could. I mean, Thompson's got to think about that thing tonight. You know, if he has that knowledge of, hey, Hayes is going to be just doing a start and park, then he needs to go into this race and just think about getting some solid points. It doesn't need to take too big of a risk, because if anything, he's just going to be growing that gap and trying to widen the gap to his teammate Andrew St. Core will be his next threat.
St. Cours is going to be a driver to watch out for. Jonathan Jennings, those are the two top drivers in practice session right now, and they're the two closest to Michael Hayes and Kevin Thompson entering tonight based off of points. We'll talk a little bit more about points later on here tonight, but again, 3/4 of a mile under the lights, Richmond. Zach, this track, one of the more unique short tracks that we go to. Deceptively seems like it's going to be an easy track to handle, but what is it like for these drivers that are tackling this track and about to be entering qualifying?
It's very tricky, I'll tell you that much. You can utilize the shifting game. We could see that be utilized. Definitely, I think on the long run you might see that. I think most will elect to go in fifth gear around here. But one thing I know that is very tricky, especially on the very first few laps of the run, getting into one here. This D-shaped oval here at Richmond kind of has that turning radius while you're braking, and you got to run a lot of rear brake pads to get these cars a lot of times to rotate and get slowed down and turn for these corners, but it really hurts you there into one, and we might see a few drivers overstep the entry and see them rear ends kick out right here on the entry.
happened a lot last season when these drivers ran at this course. Had about 2 of the 4 cautions that were thrown last season for the 2023 season 3. Where drivers locked it up on the entry of turn 1. We'll see if that changes up here at Richmond. This will be the 4th time that this group of drivers have ran at this course. First time they ran was back in the 2022 season 2. Then they also ran it in 2023 season 1, and the last time they ran Richmond was back in the 2023 season 3. 2 of the drivers that have gotten poles here in the past being Hunter Simpson and Jonathan Jennings, both going to be out there on course. Hunter Simpson has 2 poles at this racetrack, while Jennings has 1. Jennings is hoping to get into victory lane. Another driver that's won here in the past, Kevin Thompson, in the 6 machine that was all the way back in the 2022 season 2. As drivers rolling off the starting pit road for some, others have already started their first lap. All drivers have 2 laps to put down their fastest time, but only 5 minutes to do so. As currently we wait for the first couple of laps to be clocked in. Hunter Simpson, obviously a driver that's looking for some speed. Haven't seen Simpson in a couple of races, but this 5 came up 2nd in the championship last season. We know is quick and hoping for another good run as Jonathan Jennings, first driver to top the board.
Great lap there from the Jennings there to top that board of a 21.82 as Jamie Horner's going to come into 2nd place here, but we'll see what the 5 of Hunter Simpson can do. First time around going to be a 21.89. That puts him up to 3rd, so much better than what his practice results will say. And we'll see if he can hold on to that, but I think the 2nd lap should be the faster one for a lot of these guys. As I say that, Jennings goes to the top of the board with a 73.
A 1/10 faster than Andrew St. Cours' fastest lap, a 10th faster than anyone so far is the 91 machine, as Hunter Simpson will slot into 2nd place. The 5 still does have that sneaky speed, and everyone from 3rd on back very close, as newcomer from last week, Jeremy Richmond, coming into tonight's race here at Richmond. That 48 came up with a very consistent run, staying inside of our top 5 all last week, hoping for another great run like he did. Another quick driver that had their debut race last week, hoping for a good run. Didn't qualify inside of the top 10 just yet. It's going to be Brandon Fetterplace. It looks like the 20 will qualify down in 11th, as still have about 8 drivers still needing to qualify. Here's Steve Minomo, lap number 1 for the 9 machine being completed. Going to be a little bit on the slower end. It's 20th fastest at this time for Bonomo at 22.242. Other fast driver to watch out for is Justin McMahon, who it took a little bit of a slower approach during qualifying, as Kevin Thompson is going to finish lap number 1 off the exit turn 4 here.
We'll see what number 1 is. It looks like a 22.31, so it looks like he took a little bit slower of approach here. We'll see what that produces on this 2nd time around. Thompson definitely a threat week in and week out. He might be even Jonathan Jennings' biggest threat at the moment as he comes out at turn number 4. Let's see where he's going to place himself on the board. And it looks like a 22.035, so way down the list in 15th. That is unexpected from the 6.
Very unexpected. Hunter Simpson, Kevin Thompson were pretty close on times during practice. They both were just inside of the top 10. And I thought maybe we're going to see, because we saw Simpson have a jump in qualifying, Thompson would have a similar jump. Actually went the opposite way. They both, Hunter Simpson went up while Kevin Thompson went down. Talking about how tonight is a very crucial night for the 6 machine. You can keep a major gap over your teammate of Andrew St. Cours, or even keep a gap over Jonathan Jennings and not allow the 91 to have that jump and restart type of a night. And with this being round number 10 of 16 rounds for this first season of 2024, this is crunch time and a crucial moment that can make or break some of these drivers. As qualifying's coming to a conclusion, again, I want to say thank you to everyone that's joining with us. Huge shout out to Shoney's being the title sponsor of the Doghouse Racing League, as well as to Fanatics. If you go down to the description, there is a link for Fanatics. If you use that link, all purchase commissions will go to the Doghouse Racing League. It helps fundraise for the league, so we'd love if you could go use that link down below, again in the description of this video. And a huge thank you to tonight's race sponsor, and also helping partner with the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series this season, is Group 6. We'll touch more on those sponsors a little bit later, as qualifying is officially coming to a conclusion here in 8 seconds. we're slowly going to be merging over to a warm-up period for these drivers. We'll have 5 minutes to get a little bit more adequate to the racetrack. Maybe there's been some changes to the course. They need to make some slight adjustments, figure out where their pit stalls are, and also gives us time to look a little bit deeper into the standings coming into tonight's race. Because talking about how important the standings are, I think it's going to be a big factor of where do drivers move up and down through the field. Michael Hayes, after his win last week, bumps him up to just being 33 points out from Kevin Thompson. But Andrew Secor still in touch, 123 points out. And then Jonathan Jennings, a little bit too far out for, I think, some drivers' likings. But like I said, tonight, a crucial night for the 91, 230 points out from our points leader. And in fifth, Jamie Horn, who could surprise us here tonight to put himself back into a championship hunt.
That would be a very big surprise for sure. Horn has just been kind of flying under the radar there, fifth in points, and we'll see what he can do. I mean, even Nicholas Schnell there in sixth, not too far behind him. Atwood, all of them really, really close in points when it comes down to it. But I tell you, I think most likely going to come down to St. Cor, it looks like, and Jennings trying to make up that gap. And with Jennings missing that race, it definitely hurt himself also, and I believe also St. Cor missed a race. So that, missing those little bit of just missing that one start could be that big, and for both those drivers, it could come back to bite them. But we'll see tonight. Kevin Thompson not looking the quickest in qualifying. This could be their chance to gain some points.
Could be very massive, and after tonight, the drivers, if we move over to our schedule next week, going to be a big night for the Twisted Axle Racing team as we head to Talladega next week. Talladega, Daytona. If we're carrying over our knowledge from the way that Daytona went off at the start of this season, Twisted Axle were the top tier team that really dominated, controlled that race. Curious if they're going to continue on with that complete controlling action. And then we find ourselves with Dover the week after Kansas before we go into a 2-week break. And then we come back for our last 2 races of the season. Our last 3 races of the season, going to be Darlington, North Wilkesboro, and finishing off the season at Charlotte before they have a summer break. These last 6 races going to be fun ones to watch overall after tonight is done.
This 6-race stretch is going to be a fun one for sure, no doubt. It's got some great races upcoming, and you talked about Talladega with Twisted Axle. I think, if anything, they're going to be the favorites going into that race, and we'll be seeing who can get it done, so to say, and try to beat them, because Daytona, their performance was flawless.
It certainly was, as we now transition after looking at our standings and also the last schedule. Let's take a look at our pick'ems, who we think might be drivers to watch out for here tonight. They could be favorites to win here this evening. I kind of forgot about the pick'ems, so I tossed it over to my producer for who he thought I was going to win, and he graced me with a good choice, picking Kevin Thompson. I actually kind of like this. He might be starting deeper in the field, but last week did a similar thing and was still in the hunt for a win. And Kevin Thompson's not a bad pick at all. Zach, we'll send it over to you, though, on who you think is going to be your pick'ems for tonight.
I had to go with, I think, maybe the favorite, especially after qualifying, Jonathan Jennings there. I mean, almost a tenth of a second faster than anybody in qualifying. The speed with that team is just immense, and I expect him to be right at the front battling all the way down to that checker flag for sure.
Well, that's our 2 picks. Let's go see what our producer is going to be picking, because you never know what Robert's going to select, if it's going to be a for sure or not. And he's going to go with a surprise pick, Christopher Norris, the rookie in the 83 machine, currently 5th fastest in the warm-up period, and had some decent speed during the practice qualifying. 83 is going to be looking for some more sneaky speed, but Zach, I think Christopher Norris isn't the worst pick in the world, especially in these last couple of weeks. He's shown some great speed.
He really has, and this is a track where if things play the right way, it rolls into your favor. Track position gets handed to you, you very well could play right into the mix. And he's been in the top 5, top 7 mix every single race, really. And that's where you got to be if you want to pick up those pieces if something does go wrong up front.
Well, those are going to be our pick'ems from up here in the booth on who we think might be drivers to watch out for and have a chance to win here tonight. Again, thank you to the amazing sponsors that help out week in and week out, being Shoney's, as well as Fanatics and Group 6, as we get ourselves prepared for racing action here at Richmond. Going to be 180 laps, no stage break, no fast repairs, just 3 sets of tires in pit road to work with. here this evening, and over 30 drivers ready to hit this 3/4 of a mile course as the field's about to get ready as the clock time ticks down. Zach, any final thoughts before we start taking a look at our starting grid?
I tell you, it's going to be fun to see how they fire off. I think that's going to be a telltale sign of what happens. And I'm telling you, turn one, it's going to be the place here on cold tires. If anything goes wrong, it's going to be down there.
If they can get some green flag racing, we might get some good runs, but it's going to be how well can they space out. But this is the way that this group's going to be starting out here this evening as we get ready to take a look at our starting grid. 34 drivers are going to be trying to register into tonight's race. And taking the pole spot of your Group 6 qualifying results, Jonathan Jennings in the 91 machine. Once again, he's been fast and grabs another pole this season for himself. Jeremy Richmond going to be up in second for the 48 machine in his second race of the season. Hunter Simpson in the 5. Haven't seen him for a while, but a driver that's very quick. If you look at the past trends here at Richmond, he'll be starting third. Andrew St. Cours, who comes in tonight, third in points. He's a good night for that 12 machine. In fourth, Jamie Horn going to be starting in 5th. Chris Lethwich, great to see the 8 machine in some of our top 10 here. He'll qualify 6th. Christopher Norris in 7th. 8th, we find Christopher Simon. Leroy Koblitz starting in 9th. That's another driver who had a great qualifying run here tonight. And in 10th, it's the 43 of Eric Anderson.
And starting in 11th, it's the 20 of Brandon Fenderplace. What a debut he had last week. Let's see what he can do here tonight at Richmond. Alongside him in 12th, it's going to be the 7 of Gary Armio, with in the 13th position being the 60 of Mike Leftwich. Qualified 14th is the 9 of Stephen Bonomo. 15th, it's going to be that pick of Sam's of Kevin Thompson. 16th is going to go to the 92 of Cameron King, with 17th position being the 99 of Jonathan Smith. 18th is going to be Nico Schnell. Qualified in 19th is going to be Gary Clune, and rounding out the top 20 is Kevin Powell.
In 21st, the 41 machine of Andrew Court. Bill Gentry will start in 22nd position for the 4 machine. Eric Warman in the 31 will start all the way down in 23rd. 24th, the 51 of Joe McKnight. Justin McMahon did not find that qualifying pace he was looking for. He'll start in 25th place for the 24. In 26, we find the 38 of Raymond Hanneman, going to be all the way deep in the field. Daniel Wilkerson will start down in 27th. Michael Dow going to be in that 50 machine back in 29th. Andrew Gardner going to be Adam Gardner, down in 29th position for the 56. Mark Dumont in 30th. Your final 4 drivers going to be the 19 of Nicholas Atwood, the 17 of Richard Leclerc, and your last 2 will be Gary Maydew, and the 2 machine of Tony Martin. So the field's going to be pretty deep here tonight and hoping to have a good launch for themselves. We do, though, have a disconnect of a driver right before we started the race here tonight. It looks to be Hunter Simpson disconnecting with the packet loss right before they started gridding up. The 5 has not registered in. Zach, let's start in pit road, or he might even miss out on the whole race here this evening.
He very well could, because, yeah, like you said, has not reconnected back in. So tough break there for Hunter Simpson, who we were super excited for his, return back here tonight. He was definitely a major threat all throughout the other parts of the season when he was here. But now looks like that connection has been.
It certainly has, as the field gonna pace one more lap around as they take a course. It's gonna be the 91 of Jonathan Jennings. Last time we ran here back in 2023, season 3, there were only 4 cautions, but the driver that got the pole, led the most laps, and won the race, it was this 91 machine of Jennings. And Jennings has been quick. He's also led the most laps all the way back in the first time they ran here at Richmond. But Zach, we were kind of talking about it before we got the broadcast started. This race has a chance of being a caution fest if we're taking anything of note from past short tracks this season.
It really could be. I'd tell you, this is a track that things can get tricky pretty fast. And we've seen earlier this season at Bristol and a few other short tracks that definitely can have those rash of yellows. So we'll see how it's navigated tonight. A lot of cars on the track.
A lot of cars on track. and ready for some green flag action. The Group 6 180 here in Richmond is underway as they hit the Geico restart zone. It's going to be two drivers missing out on the start, but they are going to be sweeping 3 wide. Andrew St. Cour did not like that entry point for the 12. He'll lose a couple of positions. Jonathan Jennings, though, takes the lead, already going to be 2 car lengths ahead of Horn and Richmond as they exit at turn number 4. Jonathan Jennings to the point. Everyone else still 2x2.
And it's surprising to say this, it's such a smaller short track. Always looks like Christopher Norris almost taking a look there at Jamie Horn for that second spot as everybody trying to hang on, but the caution's out.
Eric Warman, and it looks to be the 50 machine caught up in this one. And Zach, you kind of talked about it. Entry of turn 1, already drivers getting a little bit out of sorts.
That they are, and I think this one might have been a little bit of contact from Justin McMahon to that 31 of Eric Warman, and Warman going to take the wrong end of the stick, so to say. And I even think maybe the 24 kind of got in a little deeper. So we'll see on this replay, and you can see the rear end almost step out of the 24 here right as we come into the braking zone. He's looking low, and he sees that 31 there, and he has to apply more brake. The rear end steps out. He has no control at that point. Bang! Big hip there from the 50 and Dow. That 31 definitely some major damage early.
Yeah, major damage. That last contact by the 50, not contact you want to have, is right on board with Dow and get a sense of what the 50 was going for, and it just looks like he got on the brakes and never let off to let the car turn in. And it's the one problem with staying on the brakes. You have zero control of that vehicle at that point.
That it is. You get on the brakes pretty hard, and the thing just does not want to turn. It can really upset the balance of the front end of the race car, and looks like that was the issue for that 50 getting stopped and slowed up for that wreck. But already a incident here early, but some shakeup on that start. I mean, Christopher Norris jumping up from 7th to 3rd. I mean, he had also the luxury, of course, of the 3rd place qualifier of Simpson not being there, so that allowed him to go up a row. But he also took advantage of St. Cour's issues, who dropped him back to 6th.
Yeah, there were a couple of drivers with those issues, dropping down to 6 for St. Cour's. I don't know what happened. Like, it looked like he just went into the corner a little bit too aggressively, bounced all the way to that 3rd lane, and just was never able to gas it back up. Also, have note of Justin McMahon. He will be given an EOL the cause of that first caution. But yeah, I mean, St. Cour's, that is a sign to watch out for. If the 12's having that issue going into turn 1, who else might have an issue here? Because these tires are going to be slightly colder than even the initial start now.
That they will. I mean, they fired them up just a little bit going into 1, then immediately brought them back down to earth, and they'll cool even more here under this process. But you get to see that weather right now, 68 degrees, light, very, very cooler temperatures, but a little bit of a light fog even here tonight. So kind of interesting to see with that 100% humidity there. It's still some pretty good visibility, even though we got that lighter fog. It's a pretty good wind too with that 10-mile-an-hour wind, but track pretty cold and plenty of grip for sure.
Yeah, I would say if we were not under the lights, it would be a lot harder to see these cars. The lights certainly help on iRacing. The fog to light ratio, the lights outweigh that function. So that's why we're able to see these cars. But when practice first initially started, I was nervous that it wasn't going to get cleared up by the time that we went green, and luckily it has for these drivers. But big change-ups, like we said. Christopher Norris up 3 spots, Horns up 2. Biggest losers, St. Cour's down 3, and some drivers deciding to top off on fuel. Joe McKnight deciding to top off on fuel, a few others as well. But up front, we are getting ready for green flag racing as Jonathan Jennings spooks them all, and he's already going to be 2-3 car lengths ahead of the field.
Great start from Jennings, like you said, spooked them all, and Christopher Norris able to take advantage too. He's up to the 2nd spot, and now it looks like Chris Leftwich is even up to 3rd. So these drivers taking a major advantage on these starts, as it looks like Richmond and again St. Cour losing spots on their start.
He just continues to fall down. Other drivers are really gunning it on the initial start. But you think about Twisted Axle with St. Cour's, Kevin Thompson, they were always willing to give up major track position early on to take it all back later in a long green flag run. But will we have a long green flag run? That's going to be the big question of the night. As drivers exiting at turn 4, Jennings will continue to lead up front. You're seeing drivers. Bonomo gets tapped, spun around, and there's that quick caution we were worried about as the field's trying to scatter away. Smith, though, gets a little slight contact for that 90. Excuse me, that's actually the 93 of Kevin Powell gets into the inside wall. We're going to have our first official call tonight driver. That's going to be Mark Dumont out of this race as Richard Leclerc required damage for the 17.
Man, there was some major carnage here. As you see Bonomo, you're also going to see in the background there, I think that's Dumont who hits that inside wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're going to have the 9 here. I think some contact from Mike Leftwich that sends him off the racetrack. He comes down getting loose. And from there, I mean, it's just calamity. Oh, and
Leclerc, that's where he got his major damage of just snapping loose, and multiple drivers spinning out, getting major damage from incidents that didn't even initially bring out the caution. As we take a look at Mark Dumont's wreck, this is what calls a night for the 14 machine. As he was exiting out of the corner, might have got a slight tap, but just rocks his way to that inside wall. Too much damage to the 14. I feel like he wants to continue on, and will take it to the pits, and has already left the server.
Yeah, that was a massive hit. I think maybe got some help from Atwood there. It looks like maybe that 19. I'm unsure if that's exactly what happened, but man, I'll tell you what, already Richmond here in this first opening beginning, starting to show that this track bites super quickly on these cold tires, and if they keep having yellows like this, they're never going to fire these tires up enough to where they get the grip that feels that security.
No, and you know, Zach, you kind of touched on the fact of a chance of maybe drivers shifting. That's going to be a factor for them to watch out for, shifting and trying to gas it up on cold tires with that higher torque. A good combination to have success off the exit of these corners, and already exit of 2, exit of 4, 2 separate incidences, and multiple drivers calling it a night. Already talked about Dumont's race is over. Well, Richard Leclerc in the 17 now has called it an evening, and he's left the race. So we're down to just 30 drivers potentially going to be out on track in just our first 12 laps of this race.
That is very wild to see, but I mean, it just goes to show you again, these short tracks, man, they can really bite you so fast, and it doesn't matter where you are in the field. And you know, I feel like the farther back you get, that yes, the more dangerous it also gets sometimes. But also up front here, we've seen some guys have some issues on these starts. All it takes is one misstep of that issue to continue, and we got a big pile up front. And it's even a track that can clog itself up to where if there is a wreck, it's hard to get by. So they have got to stay heads up here, because we're only 12 laps into 180.
As the field is trying to get prepared, cautions breeding cautions. Will we get a reset as Stephen Bonomo going to be given the EOL? He'll start at the end of the line as admins deemed that he was the cause of the yellow flag being thrown. We will see how the rest of this field's going to reset for this next restart. As you know, the restart, Zach saw Christopher Norris, Chris Leftwich, they just gassed it up and immediately took off. Following our leader of Jonathan Jennings, they're now going to be, for Christopher Norris, most likely going to be on the inside row for this next launch. How is the 83 and the 8 going to figure out this launch? Because they've been so perfect on the first 2 goes so far.
They've took major advantage of those restarts the last couple times. And, you know, if you're Christopher Norris, it's going to be a little bit more tough, I think, because you're going to be starting alongside Jennings, where Leftwich, I think he's going to get the start most likely behind Jennings once again. As looks like Christopher Norris, to see what lane he's going to be having to take, because I think Jennings is already elected to take that bottom. So yeah, Norris is going to have to be up top. You just got to really be a well-timed start by that driver up top. If you don't get it to time well, you're usually getting passed by that driver in that 3rd position heading off in 1. So we'll see if the 83 can do a good job of timing it. I mean, we know he's aggressive on the starts. We'll see how well he can do here.
Pace car is about to make that hard left-hander to pit road. We enter the restart zone. Jonathan Jennings, Christopher Norris going to be side by side. Norris is going to get a slight wheel spin on the outside group, but able to keep his way in 2nd position. The rest of the field, probably the best launch so far. Everyone's keeping it pretty close to one another, but Norris is right on that back bumper of Jennings as they exit out of turn number 2.
Leftwich, look at him. He immediately jumps to the outside of the 83, and he's going to be trying to take positioning, but they're wrecking farther back. Looks
and
like
trouble for Justin McMahon, Nicholas Atwood, and Tony Martin going to be involved in this one.
believe it actually started around Tony Martin, actually. And the two, I think he might have got contact from McMahon, who had a second little hiccup, I think, here tonight. Maybe just showed a little bit of impatience here. And you got to understand, I mean, he's lost a lot of track position, so he knows how valuable that is. I think maybe this right here might be a little bit of a mistake from this 24.
Yeah, I mean, for Justin McMahon, we've seen this before, as Tony Martin just struggled to even enter the corner. Exit the corner wasn't going to be there, and it looked like just losing it on his own for the 2, and the 24 just there. But this is going to be frustrating for McMahon because, Zach, we've seen it in other leagues where fast drivers, when they get sent to the back and they're around other drivers that maybe have different braking zones or acceleration zones, it just throws off all that momentum and rhythm that maybe you're used to as a faster driver. And for Justin McMahon, it needs a little bit more assistance to get moving forward.
That he does. And yeah, that's a great point, Sam. When you get farther back there and you got different speed levels, it just sometimes mistakes can be, exemplified. So definitely something that these drivers have got to, really manage when you get back there, especially with how big the field is. It can get very, very clustered back there, and it can make things slowed up, and you got to just sometimes find that way to pace yourself, but also find a way to get through quickly. So it's a catch-22.
It certainly is, as drivers are still pacing. Only 2 drivers officially have called it a night, being Richard Leclerc and Mark Dumont. 2 drivers missed the grid and most likely will not be starting tonight's race or taking part in it, being Gary Maydew and Hunter Simpson. A few drivers decided to take a start and park, that being Kevin Brown, Michael Hayes, and Michael Menchaca, all going to be deciding not to take part, but will be taking start and park points for tonight's races. One driver going to be spun around. That's the 20 of Brandon Fetterplace. And Zach, what happened to the 20 machine?
That was a very interesting scenario. I don't know if, he was trying to, I think, warm the tires up, and just how cold they were, it just broke loose on him.
That is one of the more bizarre incidences that I think I have ever seen. And he was warming them up and then just looped it around off the exit of the corner. And now for Brandon Fetterplace, he's just going to deal with some front-end damage that he's just collected off a simple mistake that you usually don't see. And there's your risk to reward of trying to warm up your tires off the exit of these corners.
It quickly can go wrong, as you see it. That's such a tough break there for Fetterplace, who had such a good run last week. I was kind of expecting to see him up, making his way forward with that little bit of a worse qualifying spot, but now his work just gets even that much more tough. And if we have a lot of yellows in this race, it makes that job even more tough to make up spots when you have these continuous stop and start restarts.
Everyone's going to get back to situated of side-by-side racing on this restart. Now the drivers are slightly confused on that incident, so are we, as Fetterplace has been offered an EOL to go to the end of the line for this restart after collecting self-caused damage under pacing. But 20 laps in, let's see if we can get some more green flag racing underway. It's Jonathan Jennings, Christopher Norris, Chris Leftwich going to be your front runners. Jamie Horn, Jeremy Richmond, as well as Simon Armio and Koo are going to be your top 8. As pace car into pit road, we're into the restart zone. A little bit of gamesmanship. Christopher Norris gets caught jumping the start. He gets to back out immediately. And the 91 will be gifted that top position as Christopher Norris now under pressure from Chris Leftwich that gives him a bumper.
That it is, and he's fighting to the outside now of the 91. And I tell you, the 8 and the 83, they are pushing their tires so hard right now. You can see Norris wash up the racetrack, and that now opens up that door for the 91 to get back to the inside. Let's see what they can do to how this race ends.
Down into turn number 1, a little bit of a tight squeeze by the 83 machine on Jonathan Jennings. Exit the corner. Norris keeps his foot in the throttle. Jennings drag race it into turn number 3. Continue to fight back and forth. Jennings should have the better run here. Off the exit of the corner, though, they continue to fight side by side for the top spot. Lap led by Norris by just a couple of thousandths of a second. It's just 1,000th of a second. Goes to the 83. as they continue to fight back and forth. I mean, Zach, this is great battling, but for Chris Leftwich, he's got to be loving the fact that they continue to stay side by side.
That is, he's watching this saying, go ahead, keep doing that, heat up your tires, and maybe I'll take that spot. And I think the reason they're doing this is the racing so hard is we have continuous yellows. Get out there and control this race. There ain't really no reason to save your tires, but if we do have a long run here, you will pay the price for that. So Christopher Norris now clearing Jonathan Jennings. We'll see what the 83 can do, but I can tell you right now, he's definitely saving nothing.
Absolutely not. Christopher Norris takes that top spot away from Jonathan Jennings. We run on board the 18 of Chris Leftwich as he's watching Jennings take that entry a little bit more aggressively, maybe trying a different turning strategy, as there's many different ways that you can try to attack these corners here at Richmond. And Jennings seems to be a lot more aggressive on pushing it into the center of these corners.
There he does. He's got a strong car with the yellows out. Yeah, that's huge.
Caution is out, and it looks to be trouble for Steven Bonomo, as well as a few others getting collected into this one. As Bonomo gets a little bit tagged as he ran into, it looks to be
Cameron King.
King has his issues at the exit of the wall, and then other drivers piling in late. As we'll take a look at the replay here of these drivers as the aftermath. But here's what happened to Cameron King off the exit of the corner. And Zach, I mean, this is what Richmond does, exit the corner issues.
It is, and I think he reacted to McKnight up ahead. He kind of jerked the wheel, and that really hurt to upset the balance of the car. The other two come in there, and they make contact, and from there, King nowhere to go, and he gets back into it. So 3-car pile up, and just a simple incident that is going to happen a lot here at Richmond.
See Steve Bonomo. I think Bonomo actually would have been okay on avoiding a slight contact there, but it's the second contact. It's the 41 on screen, but actually the 38 of Raymond Henneman that's going to be overcorrecting right into Bonomo and also back into King. Those three drivers having their issues. Here's another look at it again. 41 on screen, but this is actually Raymond Henneman and the 38 on our ticker. Just tries to make an aggressive move, but overcorrects, trying to come back to straighten out that machine. That's what collects all three drivers to bring out another caution here tonight.
These cars are so stiffly sprung that he jerks the wheel left to get across the track to get, from hitting the drivers ahead of him. And when he, goes left, it goes so fast to the left that he has to bring it back right. And as soon as he does that, it unloads that race car. That's what sent that 41 spinning back, or started 38 spinning back across the screen. And yeah, that was a huge hit there for Bonomo, involved in another one, and just starting to pile up for a few of these guys already early.
As just got a report in the chat from that being Simpson Racing. Hunter Simpson not able to make it due to having iRacing crashing multiple times. But he hopes to be back soon, and we hope to see you back out there on track, Hunter, as soon as possible. Cannot wait to see you challenging some of the top racers of this league. As we're actually going to go into a little more of a deeper talk about our sponsors here tonight. I want to say thank you to all three of our major sponsors that help out here for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. And we'll start things off with Shoney's themselves. Shoney's is today's All-American Kitchen, open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop on by one of the West Virginia locations to try out their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar. And don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. And today's race sponsor being Group 6. Group 6, rev up your brand's potential with Group 6 at every turn of the Doghouse Racing League season. As your creative marketing powerhouse, we're here to fuel up your success, accelerate your impact, and steer your brand towards victory. Group 6, where every race is an opportunity to outshine and outperform. Discover more at group6inc.com today. Again, that is group6inc.com to discover more from Group 6. Thank you to our amazing sponsors, and as well, go on over to our description in our video here today, and all of the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series videos. You can see the link for Fanatics. Fanatics is your one-stop shop if you're looking to get sports merchandise, from jerseys to hats to any goods that you're looking for to enhance your sporting experience. Go to Fanatics today using the link down in the description. You use that link, you purchase at Fanatics, you found yourself helping out the league as commissions go straight to the Doghouse Racing Leagues, helping out all the different series and drivers. Thank you so much to, again, all three of our sponsors, from Shoney's to Fanatics to Group 6. Thank you so much as the drivers are logging in ready to go racing once again. We are side by side. Christopher Norris going to be the lead driver this go around. What does the 83 have for Jonathan Jennings? And there is no patience, there's no waiting. He's already gone, and it's going to enable Chris Leftwich to have a run now for second place as they are right on top of one another.
That they are. Here we go. Jennings up the track now. That's going to open up the door. Like you said, Leftwich goes by. Now Horn, he thought about a second, maybe trying to take to the inside of that 91, but just could not get to that door yet as they come off before here. Crossing the line.
And it's going to be Christopher Norris leading the way as we're riding on board the 98 of Jamie Horn. Horn thought about putting the pressure on Jonathan Jennings, not able to do so just yet. Will stay in line. The first drivers are going to be side by side. It's actually going to be the battle for 8th place. It's Kevin Thompson, Gary Armio going to be those two drivers, but you're riding on board with all these drivers right now. I mean, Zach, they're keeping it pretty neat and tidy up front, even with the aggressive driving. No one's really running into one another. It's the second half of the pack. They're finding themselves being slightly impatient here.
That they are. It's definitely been that second half of the pack that's had the troubles, but we're seeing right now from Kobolitz is on board right here. It is stacked up, and that's the reason why it is like this back here. Is you got Eric Anderson up ahead there, bound for about 13th. As you got Kobolitz here on board. As again, you can see it's just so there's plenty of room here, and it's wide enough track, but the grip is so low that you're just fighting for any little space that you can find on this racetrack.
Fighting for everything, and we almost had another caution pop up as Tony Martin having issues off the exit of turn 4. He was slow through 1 and 2, and our leaders are slowly inching closer and closer to the 2 machine, and most likely is going to have to send it to pit road. But right now, looking at Mike Leftwich, who's trying to just survive with Gary Armio as drivers up front getting a little bit more aggressive. Armio setting up for the pass down into turn number 3. Our top 5 also getting pretty frisky with one another as Armio trying to gas it up, just not able to fully commit until now. Mike Leftwich had to back out of that corner, and he'll continue to back out, gifting that position to the 7.
Oof, what a battle that was right there as the 7 takes over that spot. Is everybody fighting hard and strong. And I tell you what, even while all this was going on, we had, you know, the 91 of Jennings, who looked to be the fastest car tonight in qualifying. He got back to the inside of Leftwich and immediately couldn't make the corner entry into 3, and kind of surprised me. So I think we could see some issues being popped up for handling when it comes to that dirty air and following another car.
Dirty air is a factor that, you know, sometimes when you're making testing or making setups, it's tough to adjust for how dirty air is going to affect your machine. But luckily, with this league being an open setup league, drivers can make small adjustments in pit road. And Zach, with all the cautions we've had, I feel like this might be the first time these drivers really get an understanding of how the dirty air might be working on these setups.
No doubt, yeah, they're getting to see the balances, feel how the car happens to be once they get some tire temperature underneath them. And that tells you a lot, because those first couple laps, if you went straight off the balance of what your car drove off the first 5 to 10 laps, you would not be in the ballpark of what you need when it comes down to the end of the run. And that's why you're seeing a lot of these guys, I think, try to fill it out. We'll see them come forward as this run goes on, as Norris getting a little bit of pressure here from Leftwich in that 8, who's trying to maybe make a chance to get to that clean air.
Chris Leftwich trying his best. How do you close in this gap as quickly as possible? As we've seen this field all doing their overall, just trying to stay in line, not get in that outside wall, get as much knowledge in as you can. This is going to be a long race. We're not even 100 laps left to go in this race just yet, as some drivers able to recover better than others. Is Justin McMahon now up to 15th place. Another driver that's moving up, seeing that green and gray. That's the 20 machine going to be seeing that Brandon Fetter place after his small self-sabotage moment under pacing. See that front end damage getting into the outside wall. The 20 is able to move forward, and Bill Gentry just gets out of the way, allowing the 20 to tackle forward.
Oh, that was a big slide off the exit there for a better place, and that opens up that door for that 4 to get back by. But you see Wilkerson here, he's got the pressure of the 93 of Powell, and also like Big Joe McKnight was way off the racetrack. So we're having some guys having some issues getting way up out the groove, and it's just showing that This track is just super tricky here, 44 laps in, and making everybody have to work for it.
Making them work, but you'll take any little bit you can. And at this moment, again, tires are going to be a big factor. We've talked about it all season long. It's not really about the wear. It's about the heat and the temperature that these drivers are putting into the tires. That's the bigger issue you're worried about is battle for the lead. Chris Lethwich having his first chance to take that top position. Christopher Norris fighting on back, but it's enabling Horn. Again, also Jennings get back into the mix.
I tell you what, Christopher Norris about wrecked that race car straight head first into the wall off of 4. He gathered it up and keeps it side by side for now, but Lethwich trying to clear this 83 who seems to be having handling issues kicking in.
And we've seen this. The short run, the 83 can be strong. It's the long run that he's been struggling with all season as Christopher Norris, he'll stay high. Jennings will duck it down low, but Jennings could not get his bumper to the quarter panel through the corner. And it's going to allow Chris Lethwich trying to just pull away, and that's exactly what the 8 needs to do. Just build a gap. Don't allow Jonathan Jennings to get close to you as Christopher Norris continues to be a great moving block at the time.
That he is. He is just really holding this 91 up as Horn has now gotten past has gotten passed by St. Cor. So there's 91 Jennings. You see what's coming in your mirror. You need to get going here as he's going to try again here down into 1 to try to clear this 83. But I tell you what, Christopher Norris not playing easy. He is putting it on the door.
Still staying on the outside row and keeping it close side by side for third place, but Jonathan Jennings will tackle and take that position. Tony Martin's going to be having hello to the water barrels as he smashes into it. Now going to pull into pit road as the other drivers that have closed in. Andrew St. Court has been able to move back up into 4th place for the 12th machine, getting by Jamie Horn. St. Court looks like the fastest driver on track with the way that he's running in traffic right now for that 12 machine.
He really does. He has been able to methodically work his way, and that's what we've seen from him at the likes of Bristol. He was so methodical there. He really slowed up the pace, and the car came to him as the run went on. Another driver I'm seeing kind of do the same thing is his teammate Kevin Thompson, who's worked his way up now to 8. It's not too far behind this group.
It's Kevin Thompson again starting deeper in the field. Biggest mover so far here tonight. Give that to Mike Lethwich. That's Nicholas Shell in the 58 machine in 10th place, up 7 spots. Everyone else trying to make their way forward as one driver disconnecting Justin McMahon out of this race as we stay on board Jamie Horn as we're seeing 3 drivers just compact on one another. That's Christopher Norris, St. Court, and Jamie Horn.
It is really compacted on each other for sure, and it's brought Richmond into it and also Simon into 27. Christopher Norris here, just right in the groove, right in front of the 8 of this 12, and I think the 12 not going to wait too long. I think he might use this 83 up if the 83 doesn't let him go by quickly, because I tell you what, he is struggling and really slow compared to leaders up there.
And Christopher Norris staying high, going to win that, enable other drivers to make the pass, moving forward, not just yet, but it's actually going to be Richmond working that outside groove. The 48, he's seeing a chance and will make the pass on the outside.
Richmond being very, very smart here, work that outer groove and taking advantage of this 83 up here. But I think at this point he's going to get stuck behind him, because right now the 83 just has no drive off the corner. That 12 of St. Cor, I think, in a few corners should be able to clear this 83. But now Richmond, he may look to take it 3 wide here on the exit. And
Richmond, I think, almost made some contact with Horn, kind of spooked the 48. He had to back out at the exit of the corner, just did not have the smooth run he was looking for off the exit of the corner, but with Norris falling down low, he'll have a chance. The 48 on the outside, the 98 on the inside, and Jamie Horn able to get side by side with Norris, and now we'll go 3 wide, forcing the issue as the 48 able to try to make the pass, but it's Jamie Horn that will gladly take that position away.
Oh man, this 83 struggling right now as he went up there and took that lead, and just shows you, you go up there and you try to battle hard, you burn the tires up, and then you struggle late into the run, and here we go. He's starting to have those struggles kicking in. Looks similar, somewhat similar to Iowa in my opinion, Sam, where he had some really good pace early in the race, but just could not keep it together for later.
And just like Iowa, later in the run, got to see the 91, Jonathan Jennings kind of get some speed as we move up to the lead position. It looked like Jennings was thinking about the entry of turn 3 to be the spot to tackle and go for the attack move. Not the case just yet. but it's going to be all of Jonathan Jennings. How do you want to pounce on this lead spot? Because the speed's there for Jennings, but Sankor is right behind these drivers. That 12 is still the fastest machine on track, and also closing in is Jamie Horn in the 98. So this pass needs to be made almost immediately.
This is impressive from the 98 of Horn. I tell you what, he has brought some pace tonight with that race car, and he's challenging the likes of this 91, this 12, and right now the 8 also swinging above his belt. But I tell you what, I don't know for how much longer, because Leftwich, he's been fighting strong, but these 3 behind him are much quicker. And if you're the 91 of Jennings, that's all you're thinking about is if I can get by him, and hopefully he'll hold the others up just as much as he held me up.
I mean, for Chris Leftwich, yes, you could say for this season, it's felt like he's been swinging above his weight class. But at moments, I would feel like, Chris Leftwich has shown some great speed. It's just the fact that this 8 machine has been struggling, still trying to get himself his first win ever in the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series after being the 5th all-time starter in this series. This 8 machine has been very consistent when it comes to top 10 finishes here tonight, though. This is probably one of his better runs of the season, let alone his best finishes. He's finished 2nd a total of 7 times in his career. But tonight finally be that win as Jennings continues to bear down on this 8 machine.
What a story that would be. Look at these guys moving up the racetrack trying to find grip for their race cars right now. This is fun to watch. Richmond right here kind of fanning out here and trying to find any little bit of grip they can to get passes done, because it's so tough to pass again. And you get to someone's inside, they just put it on the door, and as long as they're not struggling too bad, they will hold you up a treat. So we'll see what Leftwich can do, but he has been perfect in the placement of the car so far.
He certainly has. Top 4, soon to be top 5, all within a second of one another. Our top 4 almost all within a half a second as they continue to squeeze closer and closer to one another. But the real true battle of if we're going to see a caution, it might happen back in 11th place, because we got a gaggle of cars that are just all on top of one another. We got some fast machines with Fetter Place in the 20 machine trying to duck down low. We got last season's Rookie of the Year award winner of Gary Clune about to be passed by the 20, as they've been cycling back and forth side by side at moments, almost thinking about going 3 wide at times. As you see the 99 is Smith trying to putter his way forward.
This has been wild, and you got better places. They said trying to work his way back up with that nose damage, and he's looking like he's going to pass the 45 and Gary Clune to put himself up the 12. But as I say that, Clune fights back and just shows you again that outside line. It just makes everything that much tougher to pass when that car can just hang on your door like that. Just really hold you back.
Well, from side-by-side racing for just outside of our top 10, the battle for the lead was side-by-side for a second, and it's about to get a little bit more chaotic for our lead drivers as Jonathan Jennings is trying to go for the lead. We've also have some lap traffic that's about to show themselves in front of our leaders as Jennings gets tapped. A little bit of a scare. He drifts through the grass, hits a bump, and into the wall. We stay green as Jennings takes the toe to pit road. No yellow is thrown. Jennings is out of the race. He's calling it quits just in 1 spin.
Oh man, that is surprising to see him.
And caution is now out.
Oh. Not sure
As
what
it looks to be Gary Clune maybe for a second spun around. And it was Gary.
Yeah. Wow.
Jonathan Jennings, that is crazy that he just calls it quits immediately. There's the entry. There was already contact there. And then breaking loose is Armio and squeezed is Gary Clune as he drifts around, pops back up with oncoming traffic. And that will bring out our caution here tonight. And this is what happened to Jonathan Jennings. Was battling for the lead and now is out of the server and calling it a night after just 1 bad tap and 1 spin.
Oh man, you see right here, he's doing the crossover maneuver here. He got to the outside of him. I thought he was going to be able to get the move done, but crosses back over to the inside here. I think here on the exit, you're going to see he's going to touch doors right there with the 8, and that's going to get him a little bit loose. He has to lift, and from there, he's just trying to gather it up. He's going to hit this bump. You see, almost comes over and flips, but does he hit the wall that hard? But like you said, immediately toes and is out of the server immediately. He said night is done. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
That's just a shocking, I'm calling it a night incident to be seen. as Justin McMahon out of this race, and just saw it in the chat. Not feeling good, but he said in the chat for Justin McMahon, unreal. 17x from being in a checkup at the restart, and calling it not the night that he wanted. And for Justin McMahon, just taking it a night, it's just rough because there is an incident limit in this series. That's 17 incident points, and when you hit that number, your race is over.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when you get that number, it's done, and you know it can pile up very quickly. And all it takes is a couple 4x's. I mean, it's crazy how fast it can pile up, and sometimes those 17 incidents were none of your doing. So it's tough to see, but sometimes you got to have those in place just to stop drivers from, you know, really just going out there and running through people.
As drivers, some of them were not able to get into pit road on the immediate launch into pit road. That's Adam Gardner, as well as was going to be just mistracked of who it was for a second. It was just Andrew Cork, both taking a later pit stop than the rest of the field. But with that one spin, it's now going to be Chris Leftwich, Andrew St. Cours, Christopher Norris going to be your top three as everyone takes it into pit road, going to use their first set of 3 here tonight. And we look at our top 5, excuse me. We got Jamie Horn as well as Kevin Thompson going to be your top 5, and Zach, with seeing Jonathan Jennings basically just quitting out after that one slide. This championship hunt has now turned into just teammate on teammate action, unless Michael Hayes shows up next week and somehow shocks the whole entire series, and we get an absolute stellar of a run for the rest of these final 6 races after tonight.
They're going to need some help too from that 6 machine, Kevin Thompson too. So I mean, they can have very, very good runs, but you know, with Hayes having a start park here tonight, or really actually didn't get the starting park, so you know, not being able to be here tonight, that's going to be a huge loss for him. And yeah, like I said, it's going to come down to the 2 teammates, and it's going to be a very interesting one for sure. But now with Jennings out of this race, Chris Leftwich is taking control. He's going to have the lead. Let's see what the 8 can do. Can he get his first victory of his career?
Chris Leftwich, we've seen every driver then on their immediate launch take off, and they're similar like we've seen. Checks everyone up, takes off immediately. The 8's gonna have a great launch, but watch out for the battle for second place. It's gonna be Andrew St. Cours, Christopher Norris. They're gonna be side by side. Leftwich, though, goes a little bit too wide on through 1 and 2, and it's enabled Christopher Norris to get to the back bumper.
Very interesting line. He ran very wide, and it seemed like it was almost purposeful that he was doing it, trying to just get a very good exit off the corner. And now going to have control of this lead. We'll see, because Christopher Norris, who's gained his track position back through those pit stops, does he go back to the similar, you know, fate of running that car super hard, or does he try to maybe manage a little bit of tire here this time?
Trying to manage, and now going to be seeing a couple of drivers. Oh no, one gets sideways. It looked to be Bill Gentry potentially. No, it was Adam Gardner who spins out right in front of Raymond Henneman. And trouble striking for a few, and Richard Henneman is disqualified in the most unfortunate scenarios on this last incident.
Oh no, that's going to be so terrible to see for Henneman, but we'll see what happens to Gardner here in the 56 as he comes across the start-finish line down in the 1. I believe out of 2 here is where the issues begin, Sam, but man, oh man, some of these guys are going to be a couple, I think, more that get out of this race. Oh, and look, you see, that was a very late break loose for him on the straightaway.
And then he just lets it roll right where Henneman thought he was going to be able to go. You think as a driver, if you're Henneman, okay, there's a spacing, that driver's locking down his tires, but not the case as you ride on board with Raymond. Raymond he was running the outside. He sees everyone duck low, slows down. Okay, there's a gap. Oh, and the gap's gone.
Like I said, you can't judge that. It's really one of those split-second decisions, and unfortunately for Henneman, that's going to take him out of the race for tonight. And I think, like I said, you're going to have a few more of those drivers enter that club of being DQ'd for the night.
And with that, contact at 38 will be calling it a night, and that is frustrating to see, as an EOL will be given to Adam Gardner, but disqualification for too many incident points, as we're now down to just 26 drivers out on track. only 21 on the lead lap. And it's Chris Leftwich and Christopher Norris going to be your top two drivers, both trying to go for their first win for the season, as pace car lights are still on. Waiting for them to turn off to give us the indication that it's ready for us to go back to green flag racing. Zach, I mean, the first 76 laps of this race, we're closing in on halfway here very shortly. It's been a lot of wrecks, a lot of cautions as well. But what have you noticed so far here tonight with the way this car's reacting with this nighttime condition?
It's very interesting because, I thought the likes of, the 8 would fall off more with how much speed he really used to get up the front. We saw the 83 do that, something similar. But the feeling the 8 did such a better job of managing also while going fast. So now that Leftwich doesn't have to really, start 6th and drive up to the lead, I think Leftwich could be in position here. So don't count him out here, folks, yet. I mean, he's definitely, I think, an underdog for this victory. But, I mean, controlling this race like he has so far, I think puts him in the prime position. Also, don't count on Jamie Horn. You got him. Also, Christopher Norris, if it comes down to a late race restart, I think the 83 could be up there in potential things. But it's never over. And even Nicholas Schnell, he's made his way up to 6. So we've got some guys who've had some excellent runs here tonight, and I expect to have quite the finish, especially if we get a longer green flag run. We saw how much the tires really start to fall off.
Raymond in the chat not happy with the way this night's gone. It's been tough for drivers, and I think that's kind of what we expected with the way that earlier short tracks kind of showed that it's going to be tough in this vehicle, and the way that patience levels have been kind of fluctuating throughout this season. Not surprised with the way that some of the nights have been driving here tonight. It's been tough on the track, the car, and the drivers are stacked side by side. About to be going green this time by. Again, thank you so much for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Thursday night. If you haven't already, if you're watching on your phone or you're watching on your computer, you have the ability, if you'd like to do a clip it. It is a scissors icon that's on your mobile device and also on your computer. If there's a moment that you'd like to clip and kind of share with us, hit that clip icon and ship it our way, or you could just clip it and we could see it on our end as well, as we are back to green flag racing for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series, race number 10 for the Group 6 180, and side by side for second place, as Chris Leftwich is looking very good up front. It's Horn, though, that's trying to make the pass for second.
Jamie Horn up to second here almost, as he's trying to get that position there from that 83. We saw Christopher Norris fight so hard early in this race. We'll see what he's going to do here early into this run. Maybe learned a little bit of a lesson from how much he fell off in that first run, and kind of been gifted a position, positions up here after that pit stops. I think the 83 definitely needs to learn that, and I think, look, letting that 98 by like that was a good call.
And also having the drivers behind you of Andrew St. Cours, Kevin Thompson, whenever you see them go forward in attack, it's a good sign. Maybe it's time for myself. Also attack us. Oh no, trouble for our leader. It's Chris Leftwich. It breaks loose in front of the field, and the field calamity. It's the big one here in Richmond. They're still scattering into one another. And in a blink of an eye, you go from leading the race to most likely out of it.
That happened, like you said, in a blink of an eye, Sam. I mean, it was that entry into one. I talked about it at the beginning, how dangerous it is getting into that corner. You play with fire with the rear brake bias in these cars, and how loose you have to run them early in the run to get them to turn at the late part. And right here, you're going to see it all by himself into the corner, a little deep, possibly, maybe feeling a little pressure from the 98. A Horn that's got up to second, and you can see from there, he's just trying to gather it up. You're never really going to gather these things up. The sidewall's so small in these cars, and he locked it down. And from there, I mean, the field just piling in. Look at the rear end of that car. That just shows you from the lead to a DNF.
It just kept on piling in and getting worse and worse. And the total amount is 4 drivers required damage. Armio, Gentry, Leftwich, and that's going to be Chris Leftwich and Daniel Wilkerson. As you take a look of the 43 of Eric Anderson's point of view, and he sees a car there spinning, you're hoping it will just get out of the way, but it will not. And there's just, the one thing that's bizarre, the drivers have radios. They can talk to everyone in the lobby can talk with one another. I didn't hear anyone come over the radio say anything about Chris being stuck in the middle of the track. So it was just based off a raw, just natural gifted instinct to get out of the way if you were lucky to.
If you didn't get a call, letting them know that a car stopped there in the middle of the groove like that, and then you're not gonna, there's really not gonna be time to react, especially with the speed differences. I mean, hundreds of mile an hour difference right there. And yeah, not surprised to see those guys piling in, Sam, if they didn't get that call over the radio that, hey, there's a car wrecking here or something. Or, sometimes you hope you get that yellow before that happens to kind of, let everybody go. But it wasn't a yellow till that contact was made with the 8 machine. So it it was quite the event there. And right now, Jamie Horn's got to be sitting here going, okay, I'm in the lead now.
Yeah, completely change of the script. I mean, it went from Jonathan Jennings as a favorite. Now it's Chris Leftwich to now Jamie Horn, who, if probably one of the last drivers that has a chance, if they have a good night tonight, Kevin Thompson kind of wrecks out from here. Jamie Horn could be back in the fight of one of those drivers that have a chance to battle for a championship and enter his name into the caliber that could be running for a championship at the end of this season. But field, this is scattering into a bizarre race. And, we talked about the weather and how there was 100% humidity for tonight's race. I would say, Zach, it's changing a lot. And maybe there is a full moon out there that we just cannot see, because this track and weather is maybe causing a little bit more of that issues, but also it's just the car and track combo that's just too tough for tonight.
It is very, very tough. And, this, especially when you come with these open setups, man, you put the cars on the knife edge. You have to. And, and you also don't know the conditions you're going to be playing. Like, I'm sure a lot of guys didn't think about 100% humidity, how would that affect my car tonight? And it definitely can have those effects. And like you said, when you're on that open setup, you're trying to get as much speed out of these cars as possible. You're on the knife edge. Sometimes you just miss it a little bit, and you're out there in left field just trying to hope that nothing really too bad happens to you.
You're hoping that it's not going to be too bad at all. But for the drivers up front, we'll try it once again. 7 cautions in total. This has already surpassed the most that they've ever had here at Richmond in the past. The last time they had the most was 6. That was back in the 2023 Season 1 race. All other races have been 4 or less cautions. But here tonight, we're not even halfway. How many more will be grabbed? Let's find out as the green flag is back out. A little bit of a misshift for the inside row from third on back. But our top 5, top 6, they're running well. That's Jamie Horn, now your new leader up front off the exit of turn 2.
Great start from Horn there. He loves what he sees here as he's got Christopher Norris behind him, and also the 6 of Kevin Thompson battling the 12 of Andrew St. Cyr. Those two teammates know it could come down between those two for the championship.
And such a critical time for the both of them. I mean, for Kevin Thompson, he's got still a pretty big margin of a gap over his teammate of Andrew St. Cyr. It's over 100 points. Now, the field is running the old classic NASCAR point system, so you can grab a lot of points each and every race. But for Kevin Thompson, he's been so consistent. You need him to really have a fall off type of a race. You want to get back into the mix if you're Andrew St. Cyr's. And here tonight, doesn't help that his teammate is directly behind him.
It doesn't help for sure. Thompson now, after the poor qualifying effort, erase all that this late, really past just just nearing the halfway point. He's in really the prime position to be able to win a race. So Thompson doing Thompson things where doesn't have the greatest qualifying, is able to get up there at some point in the race, and he's always a factor when it comes down to that final run. And you're getting to see some good racing right here. Is Jeremy Richmond trying to work his way back up. He's also track position through all of this. That 48 has been quick. We'll see if he can work his way up.
Well, Chris Leftwich is out of this race, but his dad, Mike Leftwich, is still running, and that's a hard contact for the 60 machine of Mike Leftwich, and not wanting to grab too much of that damage. But like we said, the newcomer debut race last week was Richmond, and Jeremy Richmond was just so consistent, was always inside of our top 10, top 5 all last week. Had a couple of moments, but overall, a great finish for the 48 machine here tonight. Once again, staying inside of our top 10 and just trying to take every position possible as we're seeing heavy pressure from the 99 of Jonathan Smith. And Smith, driver that's kind of been shocking. You never know what you're getting from Jonathan Smith. It's kind of a toss-up of if the 99 is going to be quick or not, week in and week out. As looking at other drivers that are trying to make some moves behind that 60 machine, looks to be Eric Warman. Warman, who was caught up in some issues, same for the 20 machine of Fetter Place. They're both making their recovery runs, trying to march for a top 10 finish.
That is great to see Warman up in the top 10, man. After that first yellow, I mean, getting ran into the back of, he loves to see that he's, been able to recover so well. And right now, with Mike Leftwich in front of him, who I imagine is on the same setup as Chris Leftwich, showing the speed of that car. And look, now even Fetter Place is coming into the picture again. So great racing. Farther back here is now the 31 takes a dive, look to the 60, but the 60 closes the door of Chris Leftwich.
Just not close enough to really tackle it, take over that position just yet. Seems to be the dive bomb move from turn 1 is the better place to make these passes currently, or at least set up a pass maybe into turn 3. But if you're initiating the dive bomb into turn 3, a lot of these drivers have not had enough spacing. And as I say that, though, Eric Warman takes my words, just throws it out as the 31 makes the pass through 3 and 4.
It does, just sticks it in there and makes it stick, man. Wow, that 31 really made that move work well. And we'll see if Leftwich can fight back to Alpha 2 now. So you're just showing again, you get to the inside of somebody, you might be quicker, but you can see you might have to get your elbows out, and this might open up the door for Fetter Place. 3 wide off of 4 here. Little wreck.
No, Eric Warman holds on. Thought maybe they're going to squeeze into one another. They don't. And Fetter Place, with the daring move, makes the pass. But Eric Warman is going to fall back and lose over 3 spots and even more, as the 31 not happy about that move. But issue for the 60 machine, as Leftwich looks like he might have graced the wall after turn 2. And the 60 is not in a comfortable position. It looks like that machine is just getting tighter and tighter as the run progresses off the exit of the corner.
It does. That outside line seems to be hurting that car. And right now, he's going to have Atwood, the next one behind. Then the 31 woman. He's got past, but it's the 50. I think that's Gardner into the wall. The 56, yeah, and the caution's out.
And Gardner is just going to let it roll. Finally comes to a halt as more drivers are heading his direction. As that will be another hard incident for these drivers. Another caution, bringing out our 8th of the night. As Adam Gardner, did he get any assistance, or was it all him off the exit of turn 2? As you see, exit of 4 makes the contact, already losing a little bit of touch there. But Zach, just looks like Adam Gardner trying his best. Might have gotten some help from Koblitz here on the full collision for the 56 machine, as he gets sideways and then fully spun around was the 42.
I think there he got into that wall pretty hard, and Koblitz really nowhere to go. Gets into him and kind of finishes him off, but brings out a next yellow. And man, now it sets up opportunity of what do you want to do pit strategy wise? Do you come to pit road and burn a set of tires? I just don't think you can, because really the lap times that the drivers were running, not too far off of what they can run when it comes to speed wise of these tires. So they're only about 2-3 tenths off. So I think you got to stick to staying out.
Well, one driver might shock you, but he did the same thing last week. Kevin Thompson into pit road is going to get service done for the 6 machine, 4 tires and fuel for himself. Few other drivers also going to be making that call, as Chris Leftwich has officially left this race. We've got a couple of drivers that are going to be taking it, calling it a night. That of Chris Leftwich already did so. Raymond Handyman, Jonathan Jennings, Justin McMahon, Tony Martin, Richard Leclerc, and Mark Dumont are all officially out of this race, as we are officially with 80 laps to go here tonight. It's been a wild one, but we're going to take our first commercial break of the night. Even if we go green, you won't miss a thing, as we'll go side by side. Thank you so much for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series for the Group 6 180 here at Richmond. We'll be back right after this for some more short track racing. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. As you're watching all the coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, my name is Sam Dyer. With me up in the booth is Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr. running productions in the background. We were green for a quick second under our commercial break, but we're back to a caution flag after an incident between Joe McKnight and going to be Nicholas Schall getting into one another, the 58-51. A little bit of a preview there, but watch out for the 58 and the 51. They're going to be right on top of one another. And Zach, I mean, this is pure Richmond racing. Those different braking zones, they strike again.
That they do right here. As he down in the 3 McKnight. You know he didn't mean to do that. He just gets up in the Schnell and sends that 58 up into the wall and quickly brings out a quick little yellow there. And while that happened, one thing that's crazy is Jeremy Richmond, his race night's over. He calls it quits.
Yeah, I saw that he just calling it a night for the 48, and a couple of drivers calling it early. And, you know, something we don't talk about very often with this series, because usually we're green long enough, but when we get late into, you know, our post-race talks, the session closes, and it could come down to that. If we get into a long caution-filled evening, this field only has about 50 minutes left of this session. So if we get a caution every time we go green and we go into overtime, this race could be turning more into a timed race than an actual inside the regulation race. So these drivers are now got to be slightly concerned.
Yeah, that's got to be a consideration, actually, like you said there. So, yeah, I mean, we're definitely slowly clicking away at that clock, and even if we go green here, we're probably still looking at another 25 minutes. So, you know, that's about, you know, that's less than half of what we have. So, yeah, if we get a bunch of yellows here, kind of continue this trend, we could be coming down to a timed end of this race. And you got to have that in the back of the mind if you're a driver, because strategies could be changing very quickly if it's not to the full 180 lap distance.
Certainly can, as with the loss of Richmond, Jeremy Richmond in the 48 machine, it's going to now leave us with a total of 24 drivers out on track. A couple still in pit road getting service done, and also going to be, looks to be less than 20 drivers going to be on the lead lap for this next restart. Excuse me, actually going to be 20 drivers on the lead lap for this next restart. It's Jamie Horn, Christopher Norris, Andrew St. Cour, Christopher Simon going to be your front runners. And last, before we went to a commercial break, talked about some drivers gambling it coming into pit road to get a set of tires. Kevin Thompson, one of our front drivers to pit. Rest of our front runners deciding to stay out. The 6 machine is already up to 8th. There's a few drivers. We get another caution maybe in 20 laps. We could be seeing this whole entire group kind of switch up on who's coming into pit road and staying out.
It really could change up and switch up for sure. So we'll see how this these tires fire off for these guys, and see how the lap times come back if the cool down effect has happened. Because like I said, Kevin Thompson pitted a couple laps ago, or you know, a caution ago. We'll see where he's back in 8th.
Pace car into pit road. Jamie Horn, Christopher Norris going to be your front 2 as they enter the Geico restart zone. Horn's going to get a great launch for himself. Side by side for second. St. Cour, Norris going to be the 2 drivers as they go down to turn number 1. And going to be St. Cour's better launch, better exit. The 12 now slotted into second position. So the rest of the field a little bit side by side. Atwood's going to have a big slip up for the 19 as everyone else trying to get in line as our top 3 are trying to pull away.
They are trying to all pull away from each other. And this is going to be an important run right here, because we could make it technically all the way to the end of this race with the amount of cautions they've gotten out, in my opinion. They should be able to make it on the fuel and tires they have, but it's going to be a little bit close. But I think we're going to eventually see that yellow flag flies there. You see Mike Leftwich, he had some major mistake as it set him farther back, but you can see purple lap times. Andrew St. Cour on those 40 lap old tires putting down his fastest.
Putting down the fastest, and again, older tires, trying his best to run down Jamie Horn. I think might be under the understanding of, okay, we need to make these passes now. Kevin Thompson still mired back in 8th place, 2 seconds back, but at some point we're going to see the swing, and it's going to be these drivers that are up front with those older tires that are going to feel the hurt first, as St. Cour to the inside, going to be trying to make the pass on Horn. Horn defensive, but decides to just back out of it, gifting that position away easily And the 98 might be thinking, okay, you're not the driver I need to focus on. It's Christopher Norris. That's the driver I'm trying to hold back.
It very well could be that way, man. This is incredible to see St. Cor really just be able to power by that 98 with such ease. We've seen all night. It's really been a tough pass when you get up front, and that's 12 just made it look super easy. So let's see what he's got in the pace column, because right now he's trying to drive completely away. Look at that, it's 79, almost, really the only person going anywhere near a 7.
As everyone else is still around the high 21 seconds, 21.9 to a 22.0 in the second per lap. Currently is what the drivers are putting down. And again, if we stay clean and green, time will not be a factor. They'll be easily able to finish this race under regulation as horn goes slightly too high. Gonna give an opening for Christopher Norris, who not gonna take that opportunity just yet. Instead, we'll fall back in line. Our top 3 in pretty solid spot. We fall back to 4th place, though. That's where we find Jonathan Smith. Brandon Fetter place in 5th. They're trying their best to stay up front. And you also have Christopher Simon, Kevin Powell. Those are the buffer drivers that are holding back Kevin Thompson in 8th place with the freshest of rubber. Other drivers with fresh rubber is also going to be Nicholas Schall, who had that spin out after his contact with Joe McKnight. He's back in 10th place and trying to recover their way forward.
What a job by a lot of these guys. I mean, some of them are making an appearance up in the top 5 for maybe the first time this season. So that is great to see. And right now you're seeing that 56, that 58 trying to make his way back up with Nicholas Schnell there in the top 10. So he's trying to find his way around the 45 at Gary Clune. And Schnell was at one point up around that top 6 area. So after that spin, I'm not surprised to see him already start to climb his way back forward.
Trying to make their way forward as best as they can. Old tires, though, the one that's really falling backwards is going to be the 60 of Mike Leftwich. As see, how do you want to pressure your way forward at this time? As you've seen, right on board with 58 machine, he's got Gary Clune right in front of him in 9th place. Behind these drivers, Eric Woolman, Mike Leftwich trying to figure out where to go, but this is looking very similar to the way that last season's Richmond race went down. They had a caution with about 60 laps to go, and then it kind of turned the race into a long green flag run where everyone settled down. Everyone that was being maybe a little bit over aggressive, had been caught up in a lot of wrecks, were taken out of the race. And everyone realized, okay, let's settle down. Let's see who can really take the speed at the end of the day. And it was Jonathan Jennings that dominated the end of the race, that won by over 6 seconds. But tonight, the caliber and closeness and speed, it's a lot closer than what past seasons have been. And we're seeing that amazing racing right now.
We really are, man. This is going to be anybody's game to be played with. And right now, you can see the 93 Kevin Powell, but look, it's the 6 of Kevin Thompson. I'm so surprised. He has not really made up any headway on the fresher tires. I think he might just be thinking, man, if this thing goes green, I want to be able to run these guys down in the very last part of it. And I think he might be playing the super long game.
Taking the super long game, and it may work out to his favor. You look at the way that this 6 has ran all season long. Kevin Thompson has been one of the most winning Drivers. He's won 3 times this season. And can he get another one under his belt? Kevin Thompson's past wins, one at Atlanta, Phoenix, and Auto Club. That win in Phoenix, I think that's what's really helping the 6 think he's got a chance here tonight. As the 6 machine closing in a little bit by little bit on Kevin Powell. His big slip up by, looked like the 99 of Jonathan Smith, who got a little out of shape there.
Out of shape coming out of 2. I think he was trying to dive in the corner, maybe get up underneath the 83 or set something up. Just a little bit too much rear end stepping out for him, and now he's going to have the newcomer Brandon Fetter place here all over the back bumper, and also Christopher Simon, who's had a quiet night right around this area pretty much all night long.
Has seen Fetter place, even with the mistake, trying his way anywhere forward. Christopher Simon also, he can take this as a successful run so far. If you're the 27 who's had some bad luck in the second half of some of these races, as the gap for our top 3 all pretty spacing out a little bit more each lap, pretty equal distance with one another, almost a second the difference between first and second, and the second between second and third. As we're seeing further on a back, Nicholas Atwood You know, he's been having some issues here and there. Maybe not the speed that the 19 wanted all season long after the way that he started with his teammates at Daytona. But right now, Nicholas Atwood qualified 30th up to 13th. He is our biggest mover of the race currently.
Is impressive, man. Just fought all night long, and you never know. I mean, he can very well with the speed he can have. He can go all the way up to personally into the top 10. So we'll see what the 19 can do. But big move for sure already. He's trying to definitely come off the momentum he had early in the race, and definitely interesting to see from when we go on the onboard here already immediately for me. Fourth gear being utilized, so not even touching fifth gear, it looks like, as he goes up to it in the front straightaway, down into fourth gear, as I believe he'll go, yep, into 1 and 2, and then it looks like he'll stay in fourth gear through the back straightaway. So just shows you the differences, because this back straightaway just not as long, but nope, they're up to fifth, but a quick downshift back to fourth. So shows you how much they're working, Sam.
Yeah, they're working it a lot, and I think that's the fun thing about these next-gen cars is having the 5 gears that you're able to play with, and how some drivers prefer staying in fourth, maxing out their rev limits on the back stretch and hitting the clip, while others, like we see here from Atwood, sometimes feeling like you need to shift up, as one driver having to enter pit road. Looks like it's Gary Armio for the 7. Looks like he might be calling it a night for himself. But all drivers having different ways they want to run this track, as we ride on board with Andrew St. Croix, our leader at the moment, and get a sense of what it's like for this 12 machine, who's been very quick all night long, and what strategies he's looking for. And it looks very similar to what we just saw from our other driver that we were just riding on board with.
That does, it looks very similar. And tell you what, St. Croix here has done an excellent job to open up the gap that he has, but it's only about a second back to Horn. Horn has done a good job of pacing with really St. Croix, while the rest of the field is kind of starting to clump up here, as Christopher Norris seems like the struggle's starting to come back to that race car, as he's got Jonathan Smith, Brandon Fetterplace, and Christopher Simon all stacking up here right on the back bumper.
And Fetterplace, slightly fresher tires for the 20. He's going to be trying to enable in once he sees an opportunity to strike, as the 20 dives down low. The 27 of Christopher Simon getting a great view of the battle of the 3 drivers in front. That's Fetterplace trying to duck it down low, as Christopher Norris almost getting tapped by Jonathan Smith. As Smith in that engine 4 coffee machine, where do you place yourself on this attack? Less than 50 laps to go. And each lap that clocks away, third place looks to be the highest running that these drivers might be able to get to, as they wait for the pouncing action, as Fetterplace will dive it down below under the 99 for a quick moment. That's what pushes Smith high just a little bit here, as he'll be side by side for 4th position.
Oh man, it was so close between the front bumper of Jonathan Smith and the rear bumper of Christopher Norris. That was almost the contact there, as Christopher Norris definitely taking some risk with that late cut down there in that braking zone, as these guys are trying to race each other hard. But that 83 just struggling right now, and these 2 behind them trying to find any grip they can to get around each other.
Looking for every little bit that you can at this moment, as Andrew St. Croix is trying his best, and contact is going to be made with Smith, and Fetterplace off the exit of the corner pushes Smith close to that outside wall, and Simon will luckily be able to just breeze on by. Now puts Kevin Powell in a chance to try to attack for a pass. And also it's going to be waiting in the wings, the 6 machine of Kevin Thompson. When will the transition be made for Thompson to use up some of these fresher tires that he has a 22 lap advantage over? And I don't think, Zach, there's really a chance for Kevin Thompson with how many laps are left. This has got to be probably one of the best runs we've seen from any driver, because Thompson has yet to pass anyone yet.
That is, yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see. The thing that I'm looking at right now, we were about 71 laps into this stint for a few of these guys. We're going to be coming up to 40 to go here soon. Now, from what I'm hearing, these guys could go about 90 to 95 laps on a tank of fuel. So in my book, I think they should be good to go, Sam. There may be some concerns if we get overtime, but I think the 12 to 98, all good on fuel if we stay green.
And for our top two, they have such a gap over the rest of these other faster competitors. You're kind of in a nice spot to be running. Right now is the battle for third. It's going to be Brandon Fetterplace underneath Christopher Norris. Norris no longer able to block and defend anymore for one driver, but that 83 drops right back in line. And they'll continue to try to defend the rest of the positions and it march for a fifth place finish if possible. But with each lap that passes, 40 laps to go, it's going to just get tougher and tougher as the run progresses on. As Andrew St. Cyr continues to pull away his second gap lead over second of Jamie Horn. But for the driver we see on screen, it's almost a 5-second difference between St. Cyr back to Fetterplace.
Wow, this is showing you how much they've opened that gap up front, and those two have really stayed dead even with each other when it comes to pace. About a second of a difference between our top two. The thing I will get concerned for St. Cyr is he's starting to catch a little bit of traffic. Got Daniel Wilkerson and Stephen Bonomo for a couple cars right in front of him, and this very well could slow him down just that little bit to allow Jamie Horn to be in that position later in this race to be closer.
As we look at St. Cyr trying to figure out how to get by some of this lap traffic, will they just get out of the way, or do you need to fight for every position? It's going to be the true question of the night. Because sometimes, you know, lap traffic can play nice with you. You know, they're willing to just, they see the leader, they'll stay higher than their usual line, back out. But when you're also racing traffic that's going to enable you to stay on the lead lap, as you see there, gets out of the way, it moves high for a leader. It's just one of those things where if you're battling maybe to stay on the lead lap, you're battling for position. Those are factors that causes you to stay in a fighting position.
That it is, you know, you don't want to just roll over if you're in position to hold on to this thing. So, you know, if you're Bonomo, you don't exactly just want to hand St. Cyr that spot as Cyr will go by. But you're seeing Horn here who's staying in about 9/10 of a second back, who's been just really slowly just trying to chip away at this. But I'm telling you what, if he does end up finishing second, this is still one heck of a night for this 98 team.
It's exactly what Jamie Horn and St. Cyr, they both can take an advantage here because they're both trying to chip away at the point standings as they're both chasing the 6th machine of Kevin Thompson, which, speaking of Kevin Thompson, in the last lap and a half, 2 laps, the 6 has passed 2 drivers, now is slotted in 6th position. Now setting its sights still on Kevin Powell. It's just the fact that Jonathan Smith, Christopher Norris, their tires have faded completely away, and now they've both dropped to 8th and 9th position.
Completely, like you said, faded away tires. And if you're Jonathan Smith, you remember how much you got held up from the 83 before, and you kind of got shuffled back behind him. Well, now here's your chance to get back by him. So these two go back at it round number 2, and we'll see here is now side by side off the exit 2. The thing is, they're going to be coming up with the lap car, also wrecking ahead of them. The
right
45 of Clune.
Clune brings out the late caution. And this could change everything. And it's just as similar as what we've seen from Adam Garner before, just snapping loose. And luckily locked it down and it bounced off the outside wall as we take a look at what happened to the Fit 45 machine.
This is wild, and it shows you, I think, just how stiffly sprung and how stiff these cars are. As you see right here, they're going by Dow. The F45 gets a little loose, having to keep it pinched low, and when he corrects back to straighten the car, it just goes dead right when it hooks up, and just shows you these cars, they don't have a lot of roll or play in them. They really bite one way or the other, and right there, that bit Gary Clune.
In one fell swoop, as we were watching Jonathan Jennings, Christopher Norris spin right in front of him. And for Smith, able to get his way through. Norris had a little bit more of a scare for the 83s right on board from Christopher Norris's point of view, and they were trying to just battle between one another. Next thing you know, you look up and you got a car spinning right in front of you, and if that had been a closer battle off the exit of the corner, that could have been very bad for the 83 machine.
Oh, it would have been terrible. They would have all probably wrecked right there, and we'd have seen definitely some fireworks fly. But looks like pit road was pretty busy there, and looks like Kevin Thompson, I think he's done some type of strategy. Looks like maybe 2 tires for that 6th car.
It was a 2-tire call for Kevin Thompson, recognizing track positions more important than tire wear. and taking the advantage of taking 2 tires. And here at Richmond, with how old his tires had gotten on the left side, I think this isn't the worst call in the world. May loosen up the car a little bit more than maybe you would hope, but yeah, I think Kevin Thompson is probably one of the many drivers that can hold on to an extremely loose car up next to these corners.
That's for sure. And also the beauty of, open setup league, he could have made some changes to counterbalance that. I mean, these guys at Twisted Axle, they've been doing this for a while. I'm sure they got their sheets of, hey, if I take 2 tires at this point, I need to have this done to the car to make it balanced right. So we'll see what that 6 can do off the fire off. But I tell you what, his teammate St. Core, he likes the position he sits in, fresh tires, and in that leap spot, you can't ask for no more than that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is crunch time. For some drivers, they are using their second set of the race. Others just use their final set of tires. And it is going to be a sprint from here on out. Will we have any more cautions? Because it's going to be less than 30 laps to go in tonight's race. And if we get a late caution with 5 or less laps, 6 or less laps, we would be heading to overtime, where we only have 1 overtime attempt given to the league here for every race. Zach, we've seen it majority of this race. For the first half of tonight, it was caution after caution after caution. Now the pressure's on. Every pass matters. We may see a couple more yellows before we have to go into overtime.
Yeah, that very well could play out for sure. Overtime is looking highly likely. If it was looking ever so likely, it's definitely for tonight, because like you said, the more gets on the line here, the later we go, and the less that people are going to give up positioning. They're just going to go for it, and push is going to come to shove. So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm telling you, you're going to want to miss these final 30, because it's going to be quite the show up front.
Well, up front, it's the teammates. They have been slowly, methodically taking every position possible to get up to this top position. They're going to be the lead drivers on this restart. The pace car pulls off. It's go time. Andrew St. Core, Kevin Thompson, we're green. Teammates wreck. They wreck up front. Kevin Thompson and Andrew St. Core get into one another. Oh my goodness. They spent all night to finally be in this spot, and they wreck one another.
No, and this right here, I think it's just all going to come down to St. Core just lighting up the rear tires. I think just getting overzealous, and I tell you, this happens, man. This is what you call, just a little bit of nerves maybe getting to you, and right here, just going to light the rear end up right here on the get-go, and oh man, just crank it hard left into the teammate of Kevin Thompson. Also, Jamie Horn's going to get hit, and Fetter Place, who was involved in the early wreck in this race, he's up to the lead now.
Here's another look at it. Just fires it up. And you're trying to make the corner, but with the way that these cars work, one bad spin and the 12 of Andrew St. Cours is going to go to the end of the line with an EOL penalty because he was the cause of the caution. And then your teammate, Kevin Thompson's going to be in the back. They go from leading this race to send him to the back. Kevin Thompson also 1 lap down after having to come in and get repairs done on the 6.
I tell you what, as we ride on board here and seeing all that play out, I think we might have a first-time winner here, folks. This is shaping up to be a very interesting ending right here. With Fetter Place up front now, Christopher Norris in third, Christopher Norris in second, Christopher Simon in third, Kevin Powell fourth, and Jonathan Smith your top 5. Warman's up to 6th. I mean, anything's possible right now.
Anything is possible, and for the fact that we saw these drivers and the way that they raced here tonight, I mean, they're, like you said, we might see a first-time winner. Christopher Simon, we were talking about Chris Leftwich, the fact that he was the highest driver with the most starts ever in this league of those that have yet to win. The other driver is Mike Leftwich, the 3rd highest starter of the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series is Christopher Simon. Simon has had over 68 starts coming into tonight. Could his 69th start be a win for the 27 who has had struggle after struggle, or could it be the two rookies trying to steal a win here this evening?
Oh man, this is gonna be wild for sure. I mean, you never know. I mean, my pick's out of it. You know, Sam, your pick is now unfortunately been kind of sacrificed to the rear of the field, and now Robert's pick is up in second. So I gotta give credit to Robert. It might be one of those nights where he's able to get it done, but I think Fetter Place is gonna be here to maybe play some spoils, possibly.
Fetter Place is the driver that self-sabotaged earlier on in this race. Was warming up his tires, spun out, smashed the front end into the wall, and all night long has been slowly working on that front end, and now going to be the lead driver after the teammates wipe each other out. And they're going to be starting in the back. Andrew St. Corgan has to have an end-of-the-line penalty. Kevin Thompson had to come into pit road, get service done. He's one lap down. It is all other competitors that have a chance to come away with a win here tonight. I mean, Andrew St. Corgan is on the lead lap, but he's going to be so far back. This is going to be a tough battle to get back up front when we've seen each pass is getting more and more difficult, and it's going to be 20 laps to go when we go green here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, hit that share button. We got to get this race out there because we have a chance of a first-time winner of this season and maybe a career first win for drivers that have been fighting all of their careers to get to this point. Hopefully you're ready for it. You're watching the Group 6 180 at Richmond. It's Brandon Fetter Place, Christopher North, the rookies up front with Christopher Simon, Kevin Powell going to be in row number 2. We enter the restart zone, and we are green here tonight. 21 laps to go for the 20 machine at Fetter Place.
Let's see who has what. Fetter Place with the clean air. Christopher Norris now trying to fight, but Simon up to the inside. Can he try to get up to second? He wants to go fight for a win, Sam. That 27 looking aggressive.
Christopher Simon, this might be his best chance to ever go for a win in his career in the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. He's fighting back and forth. The Christophers, second and third, continue to fight. Fetter Place, who thought he was going to have a fabulous finish last week, found himself getting caught up in a late incident, losing a lot of time. His tires fell away and finished outside of the top 5. And now tonight, his second race in his career for this series has a chance for a win as Simon, Norris continue to stay side by side.
That they do side by side for that second spot, and they're fighting back here very strongly too. Snell trying to get to the inside. Smith, who goes way up the racetrack, loose. There's now Warman's going to look to the inside, as I think they got it settled down for second.
It's going to be Andrew Cork, and also going to be a couple of other drivers of Joe McKnight, and now going to be Clune, Dow, more drivers piling in, and Joe McKnight is disqualified from the race.
Oh man, big incident here, and that was a wild one. And I tell you who didn't want to see that was Fetter Place's.
Oh, there was the incident. It was just such a quick snap.
That was an awkward incident to happen that quickly, but we'll see what happens here. Is Cork's going to be looking to the inside here, down in 1, but you're going to see again what these next gens do. When they break loose, they go, because look at this 51. It is on a train track railroad to the side of the 41, and you can see there he gets disconnected. Clune goes around, and yeah, that incident limit they're coming to show.
And the reason why 51 again disappears is because he hit the incident limit. Disqualifications automatically take the driver out of the race. So Andrew Cork just gets spun around and drifting back. And he'll throw it into the outside wall, do a slight J turn. That didn't complete all the way. And now we're going to be having less than 15 laps to go when we try to go green here. And Zach, I think the big positive these drivers can take away is the fact that we had that long green flag run, because if we didn't get that long green flag run, this race could be a lot closer in time management of, you know, we only have 22 minutes left to finish this race. We've had 12 cautions. I think we should have enough time to finish this race out before we run out of time, but it was getting close if we didn't have that long green flag run.
That green flag run was crucial for sure. I don't think we would have got it in if, you know, you continue to trend up to that point that was set. But we'll see now. I think the more we get closer to the end of this race, the more it's going to continue like this, and this is going to get the least to say very, very wild. As you can see, that whether it's kind of stuck to the same similar conditions we've had all night, and I tell you, it's set up for some very interesting racing. And right now, Federer Place is just saying, I got to do exactly what I did last time, because he had them guys battling behind him, and he was just walking away.
Walking away and just feeling so comfortable with the way that he was running up front. As man, Federer Place, he knows he got a good launch there, but the guy to his outside, Christopher Norris, has been one of the best drivers, I would say, at trying to guess when another driver is going to take off, but also has had the most chances to make those attempts is Christopher Norris here tonight. As we are about to get ourselves ready for this restart, it's going to be Brandon Federer Place, Christopher Norris, Christopher Simon, Kevin Powell, Nicholas Schall, as well as going to be Jonathan Smith, Eric Warman, Eric Anderson, Leroy Koblitz, and Mike Leftwich, your top 10. Not the top 10 you originally count down if you looked at the start of tonight's race, the way everyone was running. But man, with this race has really shooken up everything for a lot of these drivers, as we are going to be down to just 19 drivers on the lead lap for this next restart. And luckily for one of them, it's Kevin Thompson. He's back on the lead lap. Andrew St. Cour is going to be up to 14th. They were able to advance in some positions, but they need a lot more work and probably some more green flag racing to have a chance here.
They're going to need to get, 4 or 5 spots here, get a caution for, you just got to have those big jumps of positions. And you never know. I'm not going to say they're out of it. I've seen crazier things in iRacing. I'm telling you, it can happen where you can get gifted track position sometimes. And with the speed we've seen in that 12, if he gets anywhere near that top 5 with 3 or 4 to go, he's got a shot, in my opinion.
Is it a lucky number, or will we see more chaos? It's been a wild one with the high humidity. The fog has been kicking in for some of these drivers. Oh, it's going to be 13 laps to go as the pace car pulls off into the restart zone. Federer Place, Norris, we're back to green flag racing. 13 laps to go here tonight for the Group 6 180.
If you're Christopher Norris, you love that sight. You're able to clear the 27 Christopher Simon. Now can you set your sights up to the 20, who looks to be mighty quick up front right now, as it looks like Kevin Powell going to hold on the 4th with them battling for 5th on back.
Kevin Powell's been a great defensive driver who was able to hold off the likes of Kevin Thompson for the majority of that long run. He'll be most likely able to hold back Schall and Smith unless there's contact. But up front, it's Federer Place up to a half a second gap lead over Christopher Norris. It's 5 car lengths of confidence that you can deal with. Other drivers, though, deeper in the field, just outside of our top 10. That's where Andrew St. Cour is, as well as Kevin Thompson. St. Cour is trying to make his way, working on the outside, but it's just too much of a logjam at the moment. He's got to get by the likes of Mike Leftwich and the Eric Anderson, Eric Warman. There's just a wall of drivers to get by, and with Federer Place putting down the fastest lap of the race, I don't know if anyone's got a chance, as Leftwich almost comes up in the cork.
Wow, so close there between those guys. Like you said, Federer Place running the fast lap, just opening up the gap to Christopher Norris. But this is the battle, and we see it's the 12 working his way up to 11th now. Andrew St. Cour, can he continue to gain track position and get maybe that caution that can help him?
Federer Place might be putting down some of the fastest laps of the race, but will he have the tires with 5 laps to go? Because there's going to be a swing of those tires just falling away. Everyone else, though, running 22 flat second lap times. Federer Place, a 21.7. That's 0.3 faster than everyone else. As St. Cour trying to get by Anderson, not able to. Teammate of St. Cour going to be Atwood right behind. They are still not able to get into positioning, and you can see those brake rotors for some of these drivers. It is glowing, that bright orange. There's just no space right now to make those passes. 8 laps to go for Federer Place.
Shows you how much harder they're driving right now, those brakes glowing. But up the 3rd is the battle where it's getting it on, is the 27 of Christopher Simon. He has got the 93 of Kevin Powell, who's worked to the inside. Jonathan Smith also there, as Christopher Norris is liking what he's seeing behind him, because he's able to scamper away in 2nd.
Christopher Norris comfortable in 2nd place. Brandon Federer Place is pulling away. 3rd is going to be a reset, because we've got a caution. It's Andrew St. Cour going to be involved with this one, as well as Leroy Koblitz. We're most likely going to get a reset here. The question, is it going to be overtime, or are we inside of regulation?
And you get to see there Looks like from that look, it looks like the 12 was working his way around the outside of Eric Anderson, kind of dropped down in front of Anderson right as Anderson was starting to dive on the brakes, and it's going to cause that 12 to go around, but we'll get a second look here. And fortunately for Leroy Kovalets, he's going to be the one that's unfortunately took it out by us in the 42.
Leroy tried his best, and there's the tap, the slide, the hold on as Leroy not going to be able to make it through that incident as he gets spun around. And for some of these drivers deeper in the field, they cannot afford to get caught up in being a victim of someone else running into them. We've already seen about 4 disqualifications tonight of too many incident points. And for Leroy, we'll pull it into pit road, try to get some service done. But that caution restacks them up. And for Brandon Fetterplace, Zach, I'm nervous if I'm the 20. With how fast he was driving, are those tires okay for this next launch?
It's a very critical question to ask. I personally liked how his car looked. He was very hooked up. It never seemed like he was driving, sideways. It always seemed like he was putting the power down. So he should have good drive off, hopefully, and the cooling down will only help that. If anything, if it was a little bit on the tighter side with stability. So this very well could be good. I think the biggest thing for him, no mistakes in the restart zone. We've seen already some issues with some other guys there. And if you allow that 83 to have an opportunity to get to the back bumper, he's probably going to take any chance he can get. We'll see, and we'll see fireworks fly. So if you're this 20, you just got to have a clean start and just gap him like you did the first time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this crossing of the line is going to be an important one. If the lights turn off, we are going this time by. If the lights on the pace cars stay on, we are heading to overtime. And if we go into overtime, we only have 1 attempt given to the field. So we keep our sights peeled up front. What will the pace car lights be when they cross the line? As Brandon Fetterplace, if you're the 20, you might be wanting this to be overtime. You get that one chance. You don't give a second opportunity to Christopher Norris. And those lights, they are off. We are going this time by. It looks like here, Zach, this is going to be some chaos. No, lights are actually going to be still on. So we're going to have overtime attempt here.
Now we are. Looks like we're going to go to overtime. So lights are on, and we should be getting them off the next time by, and we'll be setting up for a first attempt at, I believe,
first and only.
Yeah, first and only. Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah, I was just thinking that. It's first and only attempt here. So, yeah, let's see how these guys can stack it up. And the big thing here, again, if you're Christopher Norris, you have to time the restart very well, because if that 20 clears you, it's going to be very tough to get back to him, especially with that 27 right behind. It's all about the timing of the restart here if you're at the 83, but also if you're at 20, you're going to be looking for that 83, trying to time the restart and maybe catch him off guard like we've seen earlier with the likes of Jonathan Jennings.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is another overtime attempt. Only 1 attempt here tonight is gifted to these drivers. If we get a caution under this first lap, the race will end under yellow. But if we get the white flag, the gloves are off, the next flag will be checkered. So the field wants to see that checker flag. If you're Brandon Fetterplace, you need the launch. You need perfection. He'll be on the inside, forcing Christopher Norris to have a little bit more of a guessing game on the outer groove. But this is it. Overtime. Who's winning? The Group 6 180. Fetterplace gets the better launch. He's already going to be gone. It's going to be side by side for second position as Simon's going to be at the quarter panel, but Norris able to keep his foot in the throttle. He'll send it down into turn number 1, but it's Simon Norris going to be side by side. Fetterplace is gone.
That he is. Fetterplace loving what he's seeing because they're wrecking behind.
They're wrecking behind. Yellow flag is out, and Brandon Fetterplace will take the win as they're locking it down in the entry turn 3. The 20, his second race. The debut last week didn't go as planned, but his second will be victory for Brandon Fetterplace.
That it will be, and what a drive from Fetterplace. Had the mistake of a lifetime under the pacing laps, and I'm sure we'll hear about that. But what a drive from him here as he'll be coming around. I believe we should see this checker flag this time by.
Checkered flag this time by in your Group 6 180 winner of gonna be Richmond here tonight. Give it to the 20 of Brandon Fetter Place. Christopher Norris second. Third is Christopher Simon. And there's going to be a little bit of confusion on where drivers will finish from 6th on back because of the amount of carnage that went down. Some drivers got disqualified, others didn't, and it's going to change up how the official standings will be. As you see, part of the collision of drivers piling in, as it was just a madhouse off the exit of turn number 2. Drivers breaking loose, snapping into one another, and it was chaos from here on out.
And it was chaos ensuing, and 3 wide, hitting each other, and everybody's going for it because they know as soon as the yellow comes out, it's going to be the positions gained, and nobody lifted in that situation.
And looks to be, again, the standings are going to be mixed up. Some drivers were given late black flags because of passing the pace car, even though there was some complication of the timing of the yellow for some and crossing the line for others. So the standings will be heavily unofficial, but we do know one thing, and that's Brandon Fetter Place is your victor here tonight. And Zach, looking at it, drivers are very confused, but for us, we'll wait and see, as we're going to be stepping away from this, and we will be back in just a few moments for the post-race show to see where drivers are going to be set. I mean, decided to stay out. Drivers are just leaving now, topping off on fuel. Were drivers that were part of that also earlier pit stop. J.K. Rosari and Travis Everett can just top off on fuel. Holy Fonseca back on track. Gonna be back in 10th place for the 24 machine. As the drivers get out there on course, we'll see if we can actually talk to the 24 machine of Ollie Fonseca, get his thoughts of becoming our Morecast stage winner. We'll queue up that 24 machine. Ollie, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, Ollie, stage winner, took the gamble under our first caution of the day, taking tires, and it's worked out perfectly for yourself, man. How are you feeling out there on course, being our stage winner, but going to be starting in the middle of the field?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I was able to rebound after my horrendous mistake there. Man, that was rough. I just felt like I got the air taken off the spoiler there. I think Cody kind of tucked up behind me, and I don't know, I just lost it. And credit to all the guys around me for saving it there, and minimal damage. I think we're going to be just fine. So yeah, I took those tires, drove through the field, got that bonus point for the playoffs, so that's always good. So yeah, we drove through there once. I think we can do it again.
Definitely was a impressive drive there, Ollie, man. I tell you what, it was fun to watch. How hard was it to, bounce back from that and not kind of get down on yourself after that start? Because, with so much good track position, to lose it that early, how?
You just got to look at the big picture. And credit to my spotter, Brandon. He does a phenomenal job of keeping my head in the game. I could have very easily let that, snowball into a bigger problem, but, we rebounded. Had an opportunity to make a call, made the call, drove up through the field, and got the stage win. So we're just going to keep on being patient.
Well, Ollie, we're still waiting on the pace car lights to go off. I know tonight a little bit more of an important race for you. The floor is now yours to talk about Bobby if you'd like. Otherwise, we'll send you back to your team.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you guys so much for allowing me to do this. For Bob, I owe Bob so much. He's done so much for my career. He's taught me everything I know about fabrication and really being able to work in a motorsports program, right? And he's just such a legend of the sport. So yeah, I got the GoFundMe link on the truck. I'm sure it's probably on YouTube or on the broadcast or somewhere, but feel free to donate to him and his family for what they're going through. It's just tragic, man. And I just thought it'd be kind of cool to turn what, is a hobby for me into something that might benefit him, someone I really look up to. So I appreciate you guys for letting me do this for him.
Well, honestly, congratulations to you again for being the Morecast stage winner. And we hope to be talking to you at the end of the night here, Ollie.
Thank you.
Well, that'll be the 24 machine of Ollie Fonseca, racing for FTB. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Freaky Fast Broadcasting post-race show. Tonight, the drivers of the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series put on a show late. Another late caution that's put us in some drama racing action at the end, as the Bobby Gill Brawl 150 lived up to the name, a brawl for that first place position, given to the 15 of Vincent Sora, able to hold on with every fight that we saw. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Thursday night, giving you coverage of the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Complications, chaos reigns. The race finishes under yellow, and it looks to be a lot of unofficial results that we'll give you later on. One thing is absolute, though, and that's going to be your winner here tonight as we go down into victory lane. We know the 20 machines are a winner. Brandon Fetterplay is going to be the driver who gets into victory lane. Brandon, you get the win here tonight in a shocking fashion. Some of your other top competitors kind of wrecked themselves out of it. How are you feeling, though? Second race with this league, and you already have a win.
Holy crap. I cannot believe it. Listen, I'm about as excited as it gets right now. It was a very tough race. And, I'm just glad that I was able to hold them off there at the end.
Definitely a great job to hold them off there, Brandon. I mean, you had a great showing last week and definitely showed in your debut, but definitely had to come back from a mistake tonight there. We've seen what happened under their pace. I mean, take us through the comeback, because that definitely is not easy here at Richmond, where it's tough to pass.
Yeah, that was I was hoping y'all didn't catch that. That was pretty embarrassing. I decided that I was going to warm up the tires, and well, as soon as I kind of rotated the car to the right, it snapped, and I was not expecting it. I wasn't ready for it. Put it in the wall. And then, I had to tuck my tail and go back to the back and try to fight back and fighting through this field. I mean, everyone here is very good. They're very fast. So, I was just doing my best to try to stay off of everybody. I didn't want to wreck anybody. I didn't want to, run anyone tough. And I just wanted to make my way back up to the front, because I knew I had pace, but I just had to get there. And it all seemed to work out.
It really did work out, giving you the win here tonight. I mean, Brandon, you're joining in a league already halfway through when you joined last week. What is it like joining a league and showing that you've got pace to compete with some of those top contenders that are also running for a championship this season?
Well, I remember watching the broadcast, and it was during Auto Club, I believe. I commented in the comment section, and I said, "Hey, I can't wait to go racing in this league, and I can't wait to be on the broadcast." And here I am, and it's very nerve wracking to join a new league, to be around new drivers. You don't know how they race; they don't know how you race, and I just feel like I've showed that I have pace, but I also race very clean. I don't like bumping people. I don't like knocking people out of the way. That's just not how I do things. So, I'm hoping that, guys can see that tonight, in the past couple of races I've been in. And all I want is a nice, fair, clean race.
Well, we are happy to have you out on track there, Brandon. Congratulations on the win, and the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you all for the broadcast. I can't wait to go back and watch it. Thanks for everyone that watched. Everyone, even if I wasn't the person that you were watching, thanks for watching. And thanks to Cameron King and Nicholas Shell. They were in my ear all night. We were talking strategies and kind of giving feedback to one another. Thanks to the league for allowing me to race, and we'll see y'all next week.
Well, I can't wait to see you perform next week at Talladega. That is going to be your winner here tonight for the Group 6 180. It's Brandon Fetterplace in the 20 machine. Congratulations on the win, Brandon, and good luck at Talladega next week.
Thank you very much. I can't wait to talk to you guys next week.
Can't wait either. As we go from victory lane, we go down to second place as bring in second place finisher. It's going to be Kevin Powell after drivers not following the instructions that they were given in front of him. Powell will be gifted second place. Kevin, not the way we expected. Well, I talked to the admins. That's what I was informed with. You look to be the driver who's going to be gifted second place. How are you feeling? Come away with second place finish here tonight.
Well, I feel good with it. I don't think it was gifted. I was definitely top 3 car. People get up there, burn their tires up real early, and then pin people to the bottom, rolling roadblocks, and then we had them cautions right there, so it's just kind of hard to judge. But nah, man, I kind of knew when that caution came out right there that you'd have to stay on the track to maintain your position. It's happened too many times before, so I kind of knew that. But it felt good, man, to come from the back up to the front.
Definitely a good charge up to the front for yourself there, Kevin. Well, you know, you talked about how being tough to pass. I mean, explain to folks like how tough it is to pass.
Oh, it's really tough to pass anyway, man, because already you you get held to the bottom, you don't get the run off, and the guy on the top side, he's gonna run you off into the next corner and hold you to the bottom again. So it's one of them games you got to get creative, and you know it it's not driver etiquette. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to have racing etiquette. If you're so slow when you got 20 laps left in the race, don't hold people up. I mean, 1 and 2 jumped out like 2 seconds, 3 seconds because we were getting held up. So I'm just saying it's just racing etiquette.
Well, Kevin, with this second place finish heading into Talladega next week, what's the confidence level heading to the super speedway?
Man, confidence on super speedways, man. I tell everybody it's like playing the lottery. Anybody can win that race. Anybody. You just got to survive.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform next week in the next couple of weeks. Kevin, before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any more shout outs.
Yeah, I want to shout out you guys for the broadcast each week. Our admin team, me, Daniel, Hunter, Adam, Tyler, when he's around, we try to do a good job to, run this league fair. Shout out to all our sponsors, Group 6 tonight, Shawnee's, everyone, all the drivers that showed up and raced their hearts out. Shout out to them, and sorry for all the ones that had the horrible finishes and the unfortunate turn of events.
Well, that will be your second place finisher here tonight. It's going to be Kevin Powell. Congratulations, Kevin, on your second place finish. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Talladega.
Yeah, thanks.
As we move from second place, we go down to third, where we bring in Nicholas and the 58 machine. Nicholas, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You come away with third place here tonight. Man, how are you feeling after a third place finish?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. I actually get to talk to you guys. Usually I make it up to the top 10 and something happens and I go back a little bit, but here I am. And technicality, I will take that. It sucks for those guys. They just got black flags, didn't listen to the pace car. And so that's how I got those extra 2 spots. But I was happy with the 5th, but hey, I'll take a 3rd too.
Definitely a nice little bonus there on the end for you there, Nicholas, man. Congrats on that top 3 finish. And, you had to come back from a lot there. Got spun there at one point in the race. Take us through that, having to come back from almost getting spun there.
Yeah, I guess my breaking point was a little. I was saving tires and I felt like I drove it in pretty deep and no fault to him. Everybody has different braking zones, so I surprised him but we saved it. We only had 20 seconds worth of damage. And the set was fast all night from our team. I can't complain. I was up there, so I ended up where I should have been.
Well, Nicholas, a crazy end of the finish. Like everyone's saying, it's just technicality there at the end, giving you the third place finish. What is your confidence level, though, for the rest of the season? Like you said, you've had top 10 running vehicles. We got Talladega, Dover, Kansas. What's the confidence level for these next 3 races?
Talladega is really high as long as I can stay out of this stuff, and that's what my MO is. I'm kind of a silent person, like an assassin. Just sneak up on people. I'm not really all the way up in the front all the time. Not really in the back all the time. So, and all the other ones I'm pretty decent at. So I feel like we should have something for the top 5 in points going forward.
Oh, we cannot wait to see how you're going to be running in those future races. Nicholas, the floor is now yours for any more shout outs.
I gotta give a shout out to Inferno Motorsports, my main team, and then me and Cameron are starting another team, Glitch Motorsports, which he supplied me with this awesome set. So I gotta give a shout out to Cameron King. He had a little rough night, but he came out, and Brandon runs with us too. So congrats on the win there, and it was well deserved.
Well, congratulations, Nicholas, on third place, and good luck at Talladega next week.
All right, see you guys.
See ya. As we move from our interviews here tonight, we look at the unofficial results here this evening. The ruling is, I think, Zach, you could probably explain a little bit better. You have to follow the pace car to a certain point after you've crossed the line. So even though drivers had crossed the line following the pace car, some took off sooner and they got penalized for that, it looked like.
Yeah, this is a tricky situation. So, being around iRacing a long time myself, I've seen this before. The situation is pretty much the checker flag was out. It was out, but the fact is the race is still going on with the pace car with it finishing under yellow. It's just a weird thing with iRacing with finishings under yellow, and especially with finishings under yellow that it kind of doesn't expect real quick. And if you pass that pace car, we've seen with a few guys, it can cause issues like it did, and it can cause you to get that black flag, even though the race quintessentially is over itself, but it can cause you to get those black flags. And, it's a lot of headache to go back and go through it. So it looks like they're going to, I believe, go with it and say, hey, you had to stay behind the pace car. So when we look at these results, like you said, it'll be unofficial, but looks like that'll be the results for tonight.
Yeah, the admins are still going to talk about it, but after talking to a few of them, it sounded like this is a situation that has happened before, and so they are going to stick most likely with these results. So your winner was Brandon Fetter Place. He'll stick with that, but from second on back, everything else changes from where we thought they were going to finish because of not following the pace car until the lights were off. So second place instead will be Kevin Powell. Christopher Schell will fall into third, with Kevin Thompson moving up to fourth. Nicholas Atwood fifth. Eric Anderson going to take a sixth place position. Steven Manomo will take a 10th place, will take a top 10 and 7. Michael Dow in the 50 gets 8th. Leroy Koblitz 9th, and taking 10th place we find the 99 of Jonathan Smith. And then we look at the rest of the field. It's from 17th on back, where all the drivers that didn't follow what the rules were.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. As you can see, Christopher Norris, Jamie Horn, Christopher Simon, I believe Gary Kloon maybe even involved there. So yeah, multiple drivers there like that. And then as you look farther down the list, I think one that sticks out to me mostly here is 26 is Chris Leftwich. What a night he was having leading up front, and just spins from the lead and just gives it up from there, and that was tough. Jonathan Jennings qualifies on pole, finishes 28. I mean, tough night for some top players.
Extremely tough night for those drivers, as again, unofficial results, but most likely the admins will stick with those results that they are. So it's something that drivers are going to have to pay attention next time too, is, pace around the lap maybe a couple of times behind the pace car to make sure that you keep your position. As we take a look at what the upcoming schedule is going to be. Now, these schedules are going to be slightly off for now, but we are going to be taking the weekend off. When we come back, we got Monday Night Racing for the ISRC Layer Production Trucks drivers. You do not want to miss Monday night. That is a race that matters so much because it's who's in, who's out for making the playoffs. Cannot wait for Monday Night Racing action. Tuesday and Wednesday, their seasons are over for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series and WSSR Cup Series. But next Thursday, we are back here. More Super Speedway Racing, and Zach, we love Super Speedway Racing. Like what we saw at the start of the season, it's going to be a lot of teammates working together next Thursday night.
Oh, it's going to be a blast for sure next Thursday night. We've seen how good the plate racing has been here, and can't wait to see how that all shakes out for sure. And also, like you said, Monday night, it's going to be wild. So don't miss out there because they're going to be going at it.
It's going to be a fun one to watch, but for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, for myself, Sam Dyer, and Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr., it has been a pleasure to give you all the coverage here tonight at Richmond for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. The Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series is also partnered with Group 6 and affiliated with Fanatics. Thank you for joining on your Thursday night. Little controversial at the end. Gonna be some drivers disputing, but probably to a lost cause. But when we come back next week, it's gonna be a fun one. Talladega Super Speedway Racing. Don't want to miss out, but if you can't wait for racing action until Thursday, we've got you covered as we will see some great racing action on Monday night. But again, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us on your Thursday night, Monday ISRC Truck Series, Las Vegas. Who's ready to gamble it all? You'll find out here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.